денег на нашу погибель, как тонет подводные лодки. Но мы тоже люди, не промо. Мы прячемся в черные дыры. У нас есть такие приборы, но мы вам про них не расскажем. А колонгесты — это хорошо. Да! И взрослые знают, и дети. Мы радость творим на планете. А колонгесты — это не игра. Когда мы выходим на берег, то девочки радостно встают, и мы начинаем рассказывать про разные трудности моря. Но хватит, забыла сирена, и мы быстро прыгаем в воду. Мы жить не привыкли на суше, мы любим нырять и купаться. Аквалангисты — это хорошо. Да! И взрослые знают, и дети. Мы радость творим на планете. Аквалангисты — это не игра. Меня укусила акула, тебя укусила акула, ее укусила акула, да нас всех укусила акула. Аквалангисты — это не игра.
And on that note, I think we can slowly begin. Anyway, good evening, afternoon, or whatever time of the day it is in your part of the world. And as promised, we're going back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. I will admit I was somewhat unprepared for the changes to the Matrix that I have been following so far. Or rather, what's the better way to word it? I was ill-prepared for the Matrix rework. And it's a lot more reaction time focused. But this time, I'm thinking we will be able to adjust to it accordingly. We have. Now then, I think we can begin. Let's see where we left off. Somewhere around here. Believe it or not, OBS actually eats up a lot of my laptop's processing power. Especially if I open something as innocuous as Firefox. The speed at which pages in the Firefox open up leave much to be desired, believe it or not. Not a fan of that, if you can imagine. And especially because I have tried closing several other applications that are running in the background. Usually, while this happens, this did not have noticeable effect, which once again means that OBS is eating up a lot of my RAM. Now then, let's see where we have left off, shall we? I think we needed to go down somewhere, either here or over there. Over there. we've already seen this scene developing, so I'll just gloss over it. And back to it. Yep, burning tires are awful, nobody likes them. What else do we have in here? Bucket of sand. Never know when it comes in handy. And down to lower levels we go. That's where we need to be. In the meantime, let me quickly check on one detail. No OBS, I want the chat to be in a separate window, not attached to the main one. There we go. A little better. And now we can continue. This is where the Matrix entry was. So Matrix port was. Which means we can afford to look around a little bit more. Now, what was the code on that one? If there was one, let's remember. $5465. Let's see if that's the one. 5465. Yep, that's the one. But we do have a couple of dogs in there waiting for us. And I do not like that one bit. What I also don't like is my line of sight being blocked, so first of all, we get over here, and now we roast them and toast them. I'll drop it midnight sharp. I have to deal with an actual human problem in the stream. Why are some people the way they are? That's a very interesting question. One that is not easily answered, I'm afraid. But hopefully, whatever that problem is, you'll be able to resolve it. Well, Isabel, can you... Yep, that was a pretty good shot. One more. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Nobody likes hellhounds. And a 73 new yen cred stick for our trouble. Just what I like to see. But before we go up there, let's save at this particular spot. We can do that, right? Of course we can. We're not in the middle of combat after all. And now... Come on, game. I know you're chugging a little bit. But there we go. We go up here. And we emerge into a new area. As expected, autosave in a new area, so... Looks like a living space of sorts. Knock knock. Seems like nobody's home, so don't mind if I do. That's another 58 new yen cred stick. Anyone home? Anyone? Does not look like it. SimSense vending machine. This SimSense machine has been left unlocked for restocking. There's a packaged data chip still in the tray. Don't mind if I do. There's someone trying to get a VTuber to be their GF. Ah, the parasocial experience. SimSense chip, huh? I think it goes into mission items. Yep, stolen from a vending machine in the Lotus Den. Someone might pay to take it out of your hands. That's reassuring. Oh, and don't mind if I grab that, which is Strangler Bao's code. Ooh. Juicy. 6378. Either from this door or the one that we saw back down there. But I'm betting it's this one. Oh, and gotta remember to repair the walled city, which means we'll need to backtrack before that, and then see about Strangler Bao's code. Gotta remember that we're here to deliver a message and not cave his or his goons' head in. No matter how tempting that is, we've been asked in no uncertain terms. Yeah, you do that. Rather, you stay there. Not interested in your wares just yet. I'm a mage, after all. Funnily enough, whenever I play Shadowrun, I don't go for archetypes that require regular updates to their guns. It's usually either a rigger, or in this case, a mage. I say that like I play Shadowrun a lot, but you get the idea. Oh, Sonic PFP. Yep, that was to be expected. They are their own brand of tism. And that's the second spot cleaned up. That's the guy that beat up the older guy. So I'm not gonna go over that one just yet. What was that? Maggots churn within stews of unidentifiable ingredients. I guess the trader has left his stall a long time ago. Back up we go. And now I'm thinking we can enter the code. After all, Strangler Bao awaits us literally in the next room over, judging by the mission indicator. And was it again? 6378. Six, 3, 7, 8. Hello? Courier delivery. A large man in his 50s stands waiting, his heavily tattooed arms held in a fighter's stance. His bone structure is heavy. Corded muscle stands out on his arms and chest. In his youth, he must have been enormous. He does not talk so much as emit a low rumble. I don't know how you got in here, but you've got my attention. Good. I have a message from Kindly Cheng. A message from Cheng? I can't wait to hear you mangle it. You speak Cantonese so well, but before I hear it, I have a little message for her too. You tell Kindly Cheng that her operations are done in the walled city. Strangler Bao has given himself a promotion. You tell her that if she sends any more errand boys to visit him with another message, Strangler Bao is going to send them back in a box. You think you can tell her that, errand boy? Should I write it down for you in English? Just slot the stick, listen to the message, and I'll be gone. Okay? I don't get to hear you butcher the message? I'm sad. He grabs the small plastic drive from your hand, slots it into his thread player. Kindly Cheng stands erect, speaks directly to the camera. Mr. Bao, as everyone knows, you are the man of swift action. I respect that, and because of that respect, I will get right to the point. I know where your money is coming from. I know that you have friends working for straw sandals like myself. They have been siphoning funds from their organizations. I know about the noodle shop that you launder the money through. I have tasted their broth and found it wanting. The old woman becomes flinty hard. You have been stealing from the Yellow Lotus. glorifying yourself with revenue that we have earned. And I have files to prove it. Bao's eyes widen as files begin to filter across the screen. Receipts, bank reports, personal communications between himself and his men. Kindly Cheng continues speaking, smooth and casual. Now, in light of our recent conflict, you might be wondering why I am keeping this information to myself. Why I haven't exposed you so you could be dragged from your lotus den by the balls and slowly roasted on a rotisserie spit. In truth, I respect your ambition. You have a lot to learn about candor and loyalty, but I believe that you still have value. I am still willing to work with you. However, in order for that to happen, we need to come to an understanding about the nature of our partnership. Kindly Cheng steps forward, fills the screen. I own you, Bao. You and all of your men. You are my fucking playthings. Dolls to twist and pose as I see fit. I am in this position because I am far better at this than you, and it's time that you learned it. I accept what I'm telling you, and we can get back to business. Prosper together. But if you continue your little rebellion, I will mail tiny pieces of you to your children and take their picture as they open the package. She produces one of her thin black cigars, lights it, holds the smoke a long time. You have 24 hours to return to the fold. If you aren't there here licking my heels by then, the information will be released and you will become food for fish. Your choice, Bao. 24 hours. The message winks out. Strangler Bao turns away from the screen slowly. His skin is ashen. Get out. He pauses, casts his eyes to the floor. And tell Mrs. Cheng to expect me at Swift Winds tomorrow. He stands up straight. Tomorrow morning. I will. Thank you for your time. Go. Just go. You know what they say, local bully not so tough anymore after being bullied back. Yep, Bao saw a ghost of himself, and he did not like what he saw. Those guards are still out there, the same guards that kindly does not want us killing. We should probably go out the way that we came in. Good point, Duncan. Good point. However, we still need to find a third spot that needs fixing. We haven't missed anything, right? I don't think we did. Otherwise, this would have been somewhat different. I guess we just need to look around a little more. Yes, that about what I was trying to avoid saying, but you can also put it that way, after all. I'm guessing the third is going to be up there. So Isabel. And into the matrix we go. Before we do that, just a safety safe so that we do not waste any more time. As soon as the game is done over there and there. Let's give it our best. Still haven't. But I'm thinking we'll be able to deal with that. Yes, as he misses. There, now we can leave. There. That's the point where we do not want to go because it is full of trackers. So we'll go through here. Avoid the detection zone. He says as he walks right into it. Sometimes I do hate myself. If we erase it any further and summon the hosts, we do a little bit of erasure, and then we finish you off. Alright. If we force it, then we're definitely going to raise the system response level. So let's try that. Get it in the mindset. That one. Yep. Okay, that was easier. Easier than expected. But let's open a hatch deadbolt. And now I can leave this forsaken place. Sometimes just standing back and wait and letting them map out their patrol routes is what is needed. Now hatch deadbolt open, we go up, and this is the alternative route that we could have used to get to Strangler Bow. I see. I'm definitely not going in there to get through that second passage, so whatever secrets there are, we will be avoiding them. So for now, let's look around and find where was that third spot that needs fixing. Look who's up and running. I don't want any trouble, boss. Please, just leave me be. Sorry for your troubles, I'll leave you alone. If we were to beat up that bully, we perhaps could have gotten back his money. But not interested in that one, sorry. There we go. Pour the bucket of sand onto the flames. And that's the final spot. So now we can go back to that student and tell her that we've completed her assignment. She would appreciate that, I'm thinking. Where were you? Somewhere around here, if memory serves right. Yep, there she is. Is it done? It's done. Thank you. Thank you so much. The young woman sighs with relief. She opens the flap on her satchel, reaches inside, and produces a plastic sheath. I'm not magically active, so I can't see the flow of chi in the area. But I've got test strips, little sheets of paper embedded with chi-sensitive bacteria. It's a close relative of FAB, but it does not see much use outside of Hong Kong. She pulls a strip out of the sheath and holds it to the air. Within seconds, it turns ink black. She lets out a dejected sigh, her eyes shifting from the strip to her watch to the strip again. She looks utterly defeated. Damn it. I've been making adjustments for weeks now, trying to get the chi to circulate better, and nothing seems to work. If anything, this one went bad even faster than the control strips I took when I got here. Any idea why? No, it should work. I followed the texts, done everything right. The chi here is rancid, that's obvious. But I swear it's even worse than it should be. No wonder this place is so disgusting. That's it. I'm getting out of here. In a little while, I'm gonna tell my advisor about this. Thanks for the help. Hope you don't stay long. I sure as hell won't. I'd like to, but duty calls. Remind me, what do you have for sale? Nothing else. Nothing else, therefore we are free to get out of here. After all, why don't you knock it off with them negative waves? Wu holds up his hand for everyone to stop, turns to the two of you and hooks his thumbs in his belt. Well, that was a thing. Never thought I'd be shuffling messages between criminals and a Hong Kong syndicate. I can't imagine what Raymond would have wanted in the walled city. This place just feels wrong. No kidding. Something's off about it. This place makes you feel like your life has no value. Like there's just no point to anything. Great time you have here, runner. Isabel ignores the barb. She's too pleased. I can't believe it. We actually delivered Auntie's message without anyone dying. I've had enough of triads. Let's get out of this pit. I'm with you. I'm with you, Gun Show. I don't need to see this place ever again. Gun Show? Seriously? That's not gonna stick, is it? It will, Duncan. It will. It absolutely will. And you got nobody to blame but yourself. Now, give me that sweet, sweet loading screen. It's hard to shake off the walled city. Its gravity clings to you as if wretchedness itself had grown tentacles. The sounds of suffering subside, but their echoes still thrum your insides. Isabel walks quickly, regularly checking over her shoulder as if expecting pursuit from the buildings themselves. She hugs her cyber deck to let chat into her chest as if protecting a small child. Wu pauses a moment and breathes a sigh of relief when you finally reach the streets. But returning to Hawaii isn't like coming home. Suspicious looks and closed mouths accent unsmiling faces that billboard a universal message. You don't belong here. Time to report to Kindly Cheng and inform her that the message has been delivered. Get this business over with. Get your sin burned. Get on to the next step, whatever that is. You leave the City of Darkness behind. Head to the Mahjong parlor for a date with a crime lord. But she is willing to participate. She's willing to be lenient with us, considering we are so far doing everything she asks for, with no altercations, and no changes from our end. She will uphold her end of the bargain, I am sure of it. Honor among thieves and all that. They're not worth it. Complete the City of Darkness without any Yellow Lotus dying. A large X fashioned from overlapping strips of peeling duct tape. We'll leave it at that. That's a peculiar welding job, isn't it? The original name has been sloppily painted over with black paint. Newer but somewhat weathered characters have been painted in bold brush strokes and read Bolt Hole. I guess we'll leave it at that for now. Alright then. Heading to the parlor we go. Madam? Kindly Cheng watches you closely as you walk across the mahjong parlor. As you approach, her lieutenant leans in, brings her mouth close to the triad boss's ear. Cheng smiles and nods, her eyes never leaving you. There's a twinkle in Straub Sandal's eye. I've heard from Bao. He got my message, very clearly, and I understand that there were no casualties created during your little delivery run. I am pleased and surprised. Isabel did a great job of guiding us. Did she? Good to know. My message was delivered and Strangler Bao is back in the fold, earning for me. As far as I'm concerned, our transaction is complete. 750 new yen, thank you. While you were gone, I set the wheels in motion to wipe your identities. She pulls out her PDA, stabs a button with a lacquered fingernail. The order has been sent. Congratulations, you are now sinless. Shadow people. Wu exhales heavily. His eyes remain focused straight ahead, but his shoulders sag. Well, I guess that's done. Yeah, I guess so. But I'm not. Wu pulls himself up to his full height. Whoever gave the kill order on Carter also forced us to give up our identities, and took Raymond. Wu sets his jaw firm. That's all I can think about. Finding who did this. Finding Ray. Kindly Chink holds up a hand. While I was working to get your sins burned, I also had my network look into Raymond Black's disappearance. But I've been thinking about what you told me earlier, and I agree. I can't just let this lie. Someone killed my runners. It would be a sign of weakness to the Yellow Lotus and the others if I do nothing. She rests her PDA on the mahjong table facing you. The Triad Boss's tongue slips from her mouth as she looks over the top, hunting for the right button on its upside-down interface. I have news to share with you, my darlings. The kind you won't like. Raymond Black is dead. She taps on the button and a recorded newscast appears on the screen. Raymond's photograph appears on the screen behind the reporter standing on the docks in Victoria Harbor. It's a picture you've seen before, a professional portrait taken from a press release about a youth center he was opening in the Redmond Barrens. Under Raymond's photo are the words, Seattle man killed. Another shooting involving the police department, a Seattle community organizer and industrial engineer, was apparently shot and killed while resisting arrest in Victoria Harbor last night. HKPF police report that the UCIS man, Raymond Black, was behaving erratically and would not respond to police orders to surrender. No additional information regarding Black or why he was traveling to Hong Kong are available. Police have stated that due to this shooting's proximity to last night's shootout with a White Star, the investigation must remain confidential and no other details are being revealed at this time. White Star? Shouldn't it be Lone Star? This just keeps getting worse. You were right, Auntie. That was news I did not like. Raymond's dead. Wu puts his hand over his mouth, trying to process the information. He sways, and for a moment it looks as if he's going to pass out. Isabel reaches out to touch Wu, thinks better of it, and pulls back her hand. Sorry for your loss. I have never had a father, so I don't know what it's like to lose one, but... sorry. Raymond dies the same night we're ambushed? That's no coincidence. No fucking way. Kindly taps the video closed. She hunts around the keypad and selects another button. I'm afraid that's not all, my darlings. This is security footage from Victoria Harbor from last night. You'll find it contains a contradiction. The PDA shows silent, grainy video footage of Raymond sitting in a tea shop flanked by two guards. He's looking down at something in his hand, completely distracted. The footage continues and the camera displays several black-clad figures entering his field of view from different angles, guns ready. A tall, sharply dressed man in a suit walks briskly towards Raymond, flanked by two more. Raymond stands to face him and the camera gets a clear view of the suit's face, white plastic. His guards turn to draw weapons and muzzle flashes erupt from all sides. One of Raymond's guards goes down and his submachine gun fires wildly, hitting the camera. Hey, that was what we've seen in the opening cinematic. Wu puts his hands on the table and leans in. Those weren't cops, and Raymond wasn't resisting arrest. What's with that guy's face? Gobber reaches up to stroke the rat perched on her shoulder. Is that a mask? It does not look like a mask. It looks like some sort of semi-rigid plastic implant. Real craftsmanship. She pushes out her lower lip in appreciation. Quite the fashion accessory. It's also the kind of fashion accessory that stands out in a crowd. This guy is either a fool or an arrogant son of a bitch. Either way, I'm gonna find him. Kindly Cheng watches Wu intently. I believe you. What now? We find out who this plastic-faced man is. Then we get some answers. With what resources? I'm afraid there are some facts you are going to have to face. You are alone in this country. No network, no money, no identity. I can protect you from the police, but how would you go about discovering what happened to Raymond without me? How would you survive? This is a topic that requires serious consideration. Kindly wipes her hand across a stack of tiles, spreading the ivory-colored pieces across the table. You've had a very long night, my sweets. Very long. And frankly, you all look like shit. Rest now. I promised you safety in my town for the night. We'll talk about the plastic-faced man tomorrow. Ladies, go find our new friends a place to bed down in that rat's nest squad boat you call home. We'll all talk after you've slept. Figure out our next steps together. Yes, Auntie. Yes, Auntie. Thank you for your help, Auntie. Of course, my sweet. Cheng smiles and her black button eyes flash cold. What are friends for? Well, it's good to know that she considers us a friend. Objective? Get some sleep. That's a task we unfortunately gonna fail successfully in real life. In here, however, it is expected. No time for runners now. I have other business to attend to. Fine, fine. Back out we go. I wonder if we'll meet our old friend Algernon in here somewhere. And who that joker is? This tall, lanky Hong Konger regards you with a sickly smile. He holds a smoking cigarillo limply in his fingers and he is surrounded by drones. Smooth jazz plays on tinny speakers. I'd like to look at your drones. Sorry, beautiful, you're not from around here. Move it along. He turns away. Okay, and what if we just... Move it along, stranger. Move it along. Fine, I guess you're the drone vendor. And you're not too fond of mages. So be it. And it looks like Bolt Hole is our current place of residence. You two can bunk here for a while. Gobbet nods with her nose towards a hatch. Yavichka had to take care of your necessaries. Try to knock before you enter someone else's, okay? Seriously. I know the drill. Stinks of fish, just like that place was squatted at on Leary Avenue back when we were kids. The one with that Aslan family and their dog. You hated that dog. He kept digging out my food stash. No matter where I hid it, he'd find it and scarf down a week's worth of grub. Still, it was sad what happened to him. And the family. No one should go out that way. Typical Aztechnology bullshit. He stretches and his spine pops like a handful of firecrackers. I think I've been up for something like 36 hours straight. And this has been one shit stain of a day. Time to end it. The orc turns to you, raises an eyebrow. Anything you need before I leave you to it? Is it just you and Isobel living here? Yeah? Now that Nightjar and Gunshot are gone, it's just us. The squeal of metal grinding and metal rips through the boat. It sounds like it's coming from the level below. And the creepy Russian guy renting the engine room downstairs. Nothing to worry about, he mostly keeps to himself. He'll stop soon. He is usually quiet by now. Is there a place for my stuff? Yep, check the locker over there. You can stash your stuff in it. No one will touch your things in there, and it's a lot bigger than it looks. How'd you get your hands on this place? How do people like us get our hands on anything? We found it. You found it empty? He sweeps his eyes across the cabin. The doubt is plain on his face. Somebody abandoned a prime piece of real estate like this? Close enough. It was full of BTL junkies when we came across it. They were completely wigged out in some multiplayer cyber game. I'm not sure they ever chipped out of it. They were completely emaciated, stewed in piles of their own shit. Their eyes had sunk into their skulls. Pretty gruesome stuff. They racked up a killer score, though. True, they had the moves. Should have hung an IV while they were playing, though. Turns out nutrition is important. Heh heh, nerds. But anyway, so what happened? Did they die? Nigel ran them out. Not sure what happened to them after that. Anyway, it's ours now. Auntie Cheng says so. All but the engine room, you mean? Right, everything but that. Auntie rented it out from under us. That must have pissed you off. Whatever, we weren't using it. As long as our downstairs neighbor keeps to himself, he can have the lower level, especially if it keeps Auntie Cheng happy. I think I'm gonna have a look around. Okay, but get some sleep soon. You look like you could use it. We'll go see Kindly in the morning, figure out our next move. Honestly, I like the look of this place. Wouldn't mind living in a boat like that, especially with such a cozy little cabin. But then again, I do not have a formal training on being a sailor, so that's a proposition I'm gonna have to turn down. Not ready yet to spend a couple more hours, or rather days, or years more like, on another academy. My mother won't let me hear the end of it. Cozy place for a bridge. So, Gobbet, tell me your story. Hey, Seattle. I'm not really in the mood to hang out right now. Have stuff going down, you know? I'll be fine, but for the time being, I'd rather be alone. We'll talk later, though. I'm gonna guess Isabella's gonna say the same thing, but differently. Come back later, Val. I'm busy. And so will Duncan, right? Hey, I got some things I gotta take care of here. Let's talk later. Try not to kill yourself. We'll speak with our downstairs neighbor a little later, I'm guessing. The cot in your cabin is neatly made, with crisp-looking sheets and an insulated plastic blanket. A fine layer of dust coats its surface. It's been a long time since anybody slept here. Oh, good thing I'm not dust allergic in this one. Go to sleep. You climb into the cot and worm your way under the sheets. They've been starched stiff as boards, but you've slept beneath worse. The lice and bedbugs that plagued your old prison cell are mercifully absent here, and the salt air is fresher than the rancid stink of the Redmond Barrens. The moment your head hits the pillow, exhaustion sets in. You can barely keep your eyes open. Sleep washes over you like a warm bath, and everything goes black. The dream is suffocating. The shifting tunnel of glass and steel, the lowering silhouette of dark majesty, or rather towering silhouette of dark majesty, the shadowy doorway, and the teeth. They snap at your heels as you claw your way back to consciousness. You open your eyes to Duncan looming over you, He shakes your shoulder roughly. Come on, wake up. I gotta talk to Kindly. The others have already left. That was one rough night. He lets you go over your shoulder, cocks a thumb at the hatch. We gotta go. I've been trying to wake you for a while now. You were thrashing around in your sleep. Glad you did. I was having one hell of a nightmare. He reaches up and rubs the back of his neck. Yeah, I didn't sleep well either. I had a bad dream last night too. What about? I never remember my dreams all that well. It was probably motion sickness. Not used to sleeping on a boat. I woke up a little while ago and hit the head. Then I came back and woke you. You doing okay? I'll survive. But man, nothing's gone right since we stepped foot in this country. I'll tell you something though, and this is a matter of full nights, and this is after a full night's sleep. I don't believe Ray's dead. What makes you say that? Think about it. That statement from the cops on the newscast could be fake. Ours was. And that surveillance footage, we never saw Raymond get shot. The camera was hit by stray gunfire. Raymond's alive. I know it. You make a good case, Officer Wu. Should have been a detective instead of a headbuster, right? God, I feel like I'm in 12 years old again, squatting on a stinking trawler. My partner's gone, Raymond's gone, hell, I'm gone. I don't even have a name anymore. And now I can't even go to sleep and hide from it all without having a nightmare. What else is gonna be taken away from me? You still have that piercing you got in Tacoma? I had to drop that. Hygiene issue. What the hell did we fall into here? I mean, what's coming next? Isn't it obvious? Look around. We're sinless, living in the shadows, dealing with criminals. Wu is silent for a moment. All you get is a blank expression. You're thinking of becoming a Shadowrunner. He says it without judgment, just as a statement of fact. I think we already are Shadowrunners. I think this whole thing has been a blur. I haven't been able to really stop and think for a second. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a cop. That was then. This is now. That's right. That's right. It's like Ray always said. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls, others build windmills. Raymond never said that. It was our housekeeper, Mrs. Maloney. She had it tattooed on her back, right? How do you see it? Don't mess with me, man. You know I've got anger management issues. Gubbert and Isabel were left a while ago. We should get going too. See what that Triad lady has to say. Now that was brotherly bonding time. Let's see what our next task is going to be. Oh, looks like we came in at an interesting time. Excuse me, coming through. Kindly's place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. The clicking of mahjong tiles is strangely absent. In its place is a low murmur of laughter and an air of eager anticipation. All eyes are focused on the groaning figure kneeling bloody and bound at the feet of Kindly Cheng. She beckons to him with her finger and he struggles towards her, the loud rustling of the plastic tarp cracking under his knees as he moves. His pants are wet with fear. An acetylene torch lies on the table at Cheng's right hand. Kindly Cheng ignores the scene. She behaves as if all is right in the world. How did you sleep, my little ones? Not too well, Auntie Cheng. I had a bad dream. You poor darling. Perhaps it's the food here. I understand it can be a bit too spicy for outsiders. Still, a bad dream is a better way to spend the night than getting a bullet in the ear while you sleep. She flicks a mahjong tile at the kneeling man's head. Wouldn't you agree, Shedbird? She indicates the kneeling man with an incline of her nose. Shedbird here is a plainclothes cop. He snuck into the area last night while you were sleeping, hoping to find you and kill you before the competition got to you first. My men found him outside the trawler you were sleeping on. They saw to it that the rest was undisturbed and that your location remained a mystery. She nods her head back towards the pillar of meat standing behind her. You can thank Mr. Bao for that. Let's just nod at him. Bao inclines his head. 1/4 of an inch. Now, Shedbird, tell my friends here what you told me. I don't know anything, I swear. We just got the orders in last night. He pushes his head towards you and woo from the floor, struggling to keep his balance. Somebody high up wants these two dead. The whole department is in on it. I don't know anything else. Someone from high up? The old woman lifts her foot, taps his chin with the toe of her shoe. How high? The cop looks up at her, looks around the room filled with triad soldiers. One of them opens his cowl and shows the cop something inside, her coat. He closes it slowly and winks. The cop drops his head to his chest. All the way up. It's someone on the council. Someone on the executive council wants these two dead. Fuck your ancestors to the 18th generation. Give me the truth. The cop wears the spittle. He never lifts his head. It's the truth, madam. I swear it. Whoever it was labeled them as terrorists. We are to terminate them with extreme prejudice. Kindly Cheng shuffles closer to the kneeling cop, reaches down and strokes his head with her hand. Then she slowly digs her fingers into his scalp. She pulls back hard until his chin points high. The triad boss leans in close and searches his eyes with her own. That's all he's got. She lets go of his head and smooths his bust-cut hair with her hand. For whatever reason, last night someone on the Executive Council of the Free Enterprise Zone ordered the Hong Kong police force to kill two nobodies from Seattle. I find that fascinating. Don't you? Not really. Corporations can just order the cops to kill people here. Corruption is so ingrained in our society that we don't even see it as corruption. Just like real life. If a street vendor can get you out of a sanitary citation by buying a cop a cup of tea for 5 new yen, imagine what a megacorp can do. Seattle isn't like Hong Kong. There, the megacorps control the government. Here, the corps are the government. The Exec Council is chosen by the Corporate Board of Governors. They're basically the legislative and executive branches of the Hong Kong government in one tiny package. 8 people call all the shots. Neat and efficient. For the wage slaves and the civilian sheep, the corporations are a pantheon of gods who wield absolute power. But not for us. The triad woman takes a long pull from her cigar and taps her ash on the kneeling cop's head. Who else knows about my guest's visit to Hawaii, Shedbird? No one, madam. I hadn't called it in yet. I wanted the kill for myself. No one knows they're here, I swear it. Mr. Bao? He's telling the truth. No outgoing calls on his PDA. Very good. Thank you, Bao. Thank you for your honesty. In one smooth motion, Strangler Bao produces a silenced pistol, fires it once into the policeman's head, and replaces it in his jacket. His face never changes expression. Looks like the triads can be just as efficient. Yes, my darling. It is clear our friend Raymond Black was up to something involving the walled city. Something having to do with prosperity. And this executive council member wanted Raymond dead for it. Now they want you dead for it too. This plastic-faced man may show up on your door one day too. I have a proposal for you, my sweets. Work for me. With Nightjar and Gutshot dead, I find myself with 2 job openings. Fill them. I have need of deniable assets here. Players unaffiliated with the Triads who can take care of some of the more unsavory business needs about town. You've proven yourselves resourceful, and you have no existing connections here. That can be a positive in this line of work. See, Duncan? I knew it. She wants us to become Shadowrunners. Yep, you saw that coming. In exchange, I will keep you safe from pests like this one. She nods at the body on the floor. The pool of blood on the plastic wrap continues to widen. You'll have safe harbor here in my town and a steady source of income. Now that's a proposition you can buy me with. And while you dip your toe into the waters of corporate espionage, organized crime, and clandestine mercenary actions, I will employ my network to find the plastic-faced man and gather information about Raymond Black. Where he's been, who he's talked to, who stood to gain from his death, what this prosperity could be. What's in it for you? Besides the money and the benefits of helping others in my community, I need to learn who killed one of my clients and then ordered the cops to execute my team of Shadowrunners. This is a brazen disregard of my power. Fate dictates it must be confronted, or I stand to lose everything. Let's be realistic here. We're Westerners. Isn't there a liability in this business? Oh no, on the contrary. That's a good market. There's a good market for out-of-town talent that's just waiting to be exploited. Plus, you're unknown. A surprise, if you will. I find the right jobs for people with your talents. You do what our clients cannot do for themselves. I take a finder's fee and a small percentage of your earnings. You make a lot of new yen very quickly. It's all very civilized. Work with me. Allow me to help you make money. Let my network work for you and help you find out what you've gotten yourselves into. Without my help, you won't last a day out there. You are completely out of your depth, I'm afraid. You need a partner. Kindly Cheng will be your partner. Wu's hands go to his hips. He drops his head and shakes it a little, amused. It was just like you said. Shadowrunners. Glad I had some time to think about it. Process. He grips the back of his neck, squeezes hard, rips his hand away. Ah, fuck it. I'm not a cop anymore. This guy's dead. That guy's dead. I'm in. What about you? I think Ray's still alive too. Let's run the shadows and figure out what happened to him. Raymond is alive. I'm sure of it. So I'll run the shadows as long as Auntie Cheng keeps up her end of the bargain and helps us figure out what really happened to him. Then I'm gonna find my father. Then it's done. Heoi is now open to you. She gestures to her lieutenant, who raises a finger to her ear and whispers into her sleeve. First order of business. You have already chosen a street name. But Duncan Wu does not exist anymore. You'll need one too. Yeah, okay, I'll think of something. I think we already got you covered, gun show. Fits, doesn't it? Indeed. I knew that was gonna stick. So did I. It has stuck. Gobbet, Isabel will handle this the same way we did with all your previous work. She didn't say Nightjar. All the jobs I line up for you will be sent to your computer on the squad boat. She's pointed at you. I got it. Why him? It's a simple process of elimination. Isabel isn't the leader type. You got that right. As for Gobbet, let's just say Gobbet does not have a head for business. Not my thing. And then there is Gunshow. The jury's out on Mr. Gunshow. Meaning? Meaning there's a lot going on in that head of yours right now, and I'm not sure I can trust you. So, I'm in charge because I'm the best of the worst? Oh my sweet, don't put it that way. You are the most equipped for the role. She's making sense. You're the right person for this. Well, my real name does not exist anymore. Call me by my handle. Gotta be weird calling you Valchair again. Haven't called you that since we were kids. I guess this is our new crew. Welcome to the Shadows. Welcome to the Shadows indeed. Let's see what missions we got lined up for us. As you lead your team through the Shadows, your companions will continue to develop and learn new combat skills. Clicking the icon in the lower right-hand corner of the screen will open the crew advancement menu. When this icon is highlighted, one or more of your companions is eligible to learn a new combat skill. At each advancement level, you may choose one or two possible combat skills to each of your runners. Choose wisely. Looks like they ported this system over from Dragonfall without any changes. What do we have for Gobbet? Body +1, quickness +1, summoning, SMG, spirit control. The choices are territoriality, augment skill, ranged combat. Gobbet spends some more time at the firing range, increasing her ranged combat skill and SMG specialization by 1. Generally, SMGs used to be a joke in previous games, so I am not sure they're any better in this one. But the other option is Spiritualist, augment, spirit control. Spirits will never break away in the first 2 rounds after summoning them. This sounds a bit excessive, because the first 2 turns, well, you need to get extremely bad luck in order for them to break away, if you stop and think about it. Other than that, it's an interesting question, really. And personally, I am leaning towards... you know what? Spiritualist won't hurt. So let's go with that. Next, Isabel. We got Sabotage, augment for mini launcher. Isabel's grenade launcher can now fire remote mines, which can be triggered to detonate at will. Or Espionage, program Tar Blaster. Isabel gains the Tar Blaster 1.0 program, an upgraded version of the blaster that also sticks enemies in place for 1 round. Both are tempting, but I'm thinking we won't get any other deckers, so Espionage it is. Now, Mr. Gun Show. Lethal Force, Firepower Round. Duncan gains an assault rifle ability that fires a single shot of incendiary ammo, does an additional 2 damage and pierces up to 2 armor. Or Crowd Control, Underslung Beanbag. Duncan gains a rifle ability that does 2 AP damage and imbalances targets, making them easier to hit on subsequent attacks. This ability cannot do critical damage. Still, Duncan can go about as non-lethal as you can. And while Incendiary Round sounds interesting, I like the Underslung Beanbag as a sort of support option. So we'll go with that. And you are Jin. As you approach the small landing, you see 3 men, 2 elders and a younger man, hunched over a go board. The juxtaposition of the 2 white-haired, white-bearded men and the black-haired man is almost comical. Together, the 3 resemble the small black and white stones of their game. Despite the variety of ambient distractions, the 3 men remain acutely focused on the game. One of the elders, a round-faced man with a beatific smile, carefully picks a black stone and places it on the board. His opponent snorts, and a small smile flashes across his long face. Almost carelessly, he snatches a white stone and deposits it on the board. The smiling man groans, and the long-faced one proceeds to collect several black pieces off the board. Ah, you got me there, Jin. He laughs, a pleasant, full sound. As it trails off, he spots you watching the game. A broad smile brightens his cheeks. Why, hello there, young man. Something you need? The long-faced man gives you a cursory look and continues to collect black stones. Just a Gokeshu. It's your turn. Jin reminds me of a friend who's out there now. Out there in the army. If he was older, of course. But the features are there. They are there. The name's Valcher. Got a second to answer a question or two? I could use a short break. How about you, Jin? Fine. A short break. He looks to be in his early 30s, but it's difficult to tell. The skin on his face is smooth and supple, with only the suggestions of creases in the eye, mouth, and forehead. But small gestures, a blink, a flare of nostrils, briefly reveals the lines on his face. The man's eyes rise from the go-board and study the elders. He nods. I've been hearing about strange dreams here in Hawaii. Have you had any nightmares recently? What a coincidence. Wasn't but an hour ago that we were all discussing that very thing. We have been having bad dreams. Every one of us. Interesting. You mind sharing? What makes you think we'd be comfortable sharing our dreams with a complete stranger? Seems like a good way to get ourselves in trouble. Especially with what you kids can do with that Matrix you all love so much. Pah! Don't mind him, he's always been a poor sport. But he raises a good point. Some of our dreams contain informations best left private, just as yours do, I'm sure. Having just met, how can we be sure that you'll respect our personal information? I'll tell you. The younger man's voice cuts through the din like a razor, and the elders fall silent. He turns to you and he locks his eyes, dark orbs that burn with piercing scrutiny, onto yours. He nods and returns his gaze to the go-board. I believe you're trustworthy. Please, make yourself comfortable. I'll share my dream with you. I appreciate it. Go ahead. I dreamed of a long, dingy hall. When faced with such a thing, one generally walks its length, so I lifted my right foot and placed it in front of me. But upon taking that first step, I found myself instead drawn down an alleyway to my left. It wasn't there before, this alley. It appeared only as I began to walk. As I moved down the alley, I found myself surrounded by friends and loved ones. They all stood there, silently watching me with smiles on their faces. And as I passed each one of them, they fell to the ground in my wake, dropping like puppets with severed strings. Somehow, I knew that if I followed this road to the end, I would have everything I had ever dreamed of. But I woke before I could reach it. I too saw the long hall. My own experience was different, however. The hall was far off in the distance, and I was looking down on it from a strange angle, as though I were perched on a wall high above. You know, young man, you look very much like the person I saw walking that hall. He moved steadily down the path, walking at an even pace, and just behind him, a great and terrible shadow followed. Of course, I didn't have the best view up there on that wall, or wherever I was. It could have been anyone. Perhaps this old mind of mine is seeing your face now and misremembering the dream. Alright, Jin, go ahead. I've changed my mind. I don't want to share my dream. Nonsense. Master Lao and I have both told him our dreams, and now it's your turn. No. I don't want to force you to do anything. No, it's fine. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. See? Straight from the horse's mouth. I don't have to. Jin, this is important. Jin's mouth opens and closes like a gasping fish, but as he looks at Lao, his body relaxes and the sadness seems to have taken hold of his features. Alright, but don't you go repeating any of this, you hear me? My dream began as a nightmare. I dreamed of the failures and mistakes that I have made throughout my life. The people I've let down, the competitors I've crushed, the wife who died in hospice without me. I dreamed of the family that I had abandoned. But then I dreamed of the walled city. I stood before it, and its door opened to me, and when I passed inside, all of my guilt fell away. It was as though the city had absolved me, had washed away my guilt, and I remember being happy. There, I did it. You happy? Thank you, Jin. That was great. And don't worry, I won't abuse your personal information. Promise. Yeah. Now can we change the subject? My ulcer's acting up. I'm guessing you've been around these parts longer than I have. Is this sort of thing normal? If it were normal, we wouldn't be huddled around discussing it with them in whispers now, would we? Enough of that, Jim. Val here asked in earnest for our advice. He deserves a proper response. Please forgive our friend. Bitter years have left him suspicious of others. The answer to your question is no. Upsetting dreams have never been uncommon in Hawaii, but these recent visitations have been different. They've been darker, more vivid, stronger than normal dreams. Last night I felt consumed by the sense that something was coming. While my friends here felt a sense of relief and excitement as their dreams ended, I felt as though I were sitting on the precipice of some vast and terrible chasm, with a void yawning beneath my feet. But perhaps these are just the ramblings of an old man. Please forgive me. You speak wisely, Shu. It is foolish to embrace a thing that you do not understand. What Jin and I saw in our dreams was alluring, but so is the light to a moth. Your instincts are still strong and sharp, my old friend. It is wise of you to trust them. Thank you. I can only hope those dreams do lead to something beautiful. There's already enough deception in this world. Can we get back to the game now? I don't want to keep you. Of course. Stop by again sometime soon. Your company has been refreshing. Thanks. Good luck with your game. Appreciate it, young man. We'll be seeing you. Good interactions. What do we have here? Parlor of 5 Faces. Must be a magical shop, right? Crafty Zhu. A mild scent, sweet and slightly herbal, is the first thing you notice upon entering the old shop. Its quarters are cramped, made smaller by the display cases and furniture packed inside. The walls are lined with bookshelves, and the tables and chairs are stacked with old tomes. A few titles jump out at you. Lucid Dreaming, an exploration of the inner self. Dream Logic, Nocturnal Visitations. Overall, the place feels lived in if it is organized. Not quite cluttered, but close. Milling at the front of the store is the shopkeeper, lost in a book of her own. She's tall for a human, probably close to 2 meters in height. Her physique is typical bookworm, not overweight, but you can't see any muscular definition either. Sounds like my type. A wraparound tattoo covers her upper arms and shoulders, but from where you're standing, you can't quite make it out. She fidgets. Gradually, her eyes rise from her book and lock onto you. Welcome. Don't believe I've seen you before. Name's Crafty. Nice to meet you. So, what can I do for you? I've got spells, alchemical reagents, foci, whatever you want, really. Might have to do some digging to find it, but if it is magical, it's around here somewhere. I'd like to see your wares. What do you have? For spells, you get Chain Lightning, Spell Focus Life Siphon, Heal Wound 1, Lightning Bolt 1, Mana Ball, Mind Wipe, Stun Bolt, Dispel Magic, Acid Stream. That one is potent. Clipping the confession, huh? You better do. Distraction, Flamethrower, Aim, Mana Bolt, which I already have, and Strip Armor. Heal Wound I already own, but Chain Lightning is attractive. But it still requires spellcasting 6, and we are short on cash in that regard. But you do have a Shamanic Ritual Garb, Armor 3. These tattered robes would impart little protection, if not for the latent magic still imbued in them. Plus, of course, Acid Bolt. That one needs Conjuring 1. And Power Bolt, which we already own. Couple of consumables for the Shaman. Oh, and Shamanic Salve, healing item. Heals 4 base HP and further 4 HP per round for 3 rounds. Huh? Say, Crafty, have you had any vivid dreams lately? As a matter of fact, I have. But we all get the occasional vivid dream. Nothing special there. Really? Then why are you reading up on them? Sure, it's a little weird that we're having them, but these types of dreams are common in the walled city. Nothing to get all worked up about. Probably. Strange. I met someone the other day who said that too. Anyone who's familiar with the walled city would know that, but most people don't go out of their way to find out. My mother devoted her life to researching the walled city and the magical phenomena within it, so I grew up with stories about the city. The recurrent creepy dreams being one of them. They are common then? Common as the cold. My mother devoted her life to researching the walled city and the magical phenomena within it, so I grew up with stories about the city, the recurrent creepy dreams being one of them. I've never been inside the walled city myself, but Mom went in there pretty regularly and experienced the dreams. Where's your mother now? Dead. Mom was interesting, but not praiseworthy. A dark and mysterious past then, got it. Well, let's ask the obvious. Is this your store or do you just work here? It's mine. I inherited it from my mom. As you can see, she generously left me all her research journals. Mom was never a big cleaner, but neither am I. My mom used to keep spirits around that helped her manage the place. They're not here anymore, but sometimes I swear my books aren't where I last placed them. Who knows? Maybe they'll pop by for visits. I just wish they'd clean while they're here. What makes the store so special? It's old, respectable, built over a dragon line. We also carry texts unavailable to anywhere else, but I guess for me, I'm drawn to this place by the nostalgia. How do you like working here? It's a job, can't complain. And what's with the name of the store? It's a cultural thing. The 5 phases represent wood, earth, water, fire, and metal. Some people believe they are the basis of how things function and interact in this world. You'll find it practiced all throughout China, in disciplines ranging from farming to science, even music. The theory isn't common among younger generations, but it has its uses. My mother was strongly influenced by it. In fact, our sign out front is a visual representation of the cycle of 5 phases. It was an inspiration to her. I just think that it looks neat. What else do you know about Walled City? Very little. Just that my mother spent most of her time in there and well, it messed her up. Is there something specific you want to know about it? What can you tell me about the city itself? Where to begin? The walled city always been a hellhole. It started a bad place, it's still a bad place. Crime's drawn to it like a magnet, and you can't enter the city without a security guard on each elbow. But not even that will guarantee you safe passage. No one famous or rich or memorable has ever come from the place, and the only thing it's known for around here is its shady reputation. That's about the gist of it. Now, there's a whole library here that just so happens to be the foremost location for walled city texts. I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. I get the feeling that your relationship with your mother was unusual. You'd better believe it. She was obsessed with the walled city. Put it before everyone in her life. Mom ate, slept, and breathed that city. Was something fueling her obsession? Yeah, actually, Mom was convinced that something was wrong with the place, that it was cursed in some way, polluted with unnaturally bad qi. She'd visit the city under the protection of the Yellow Lotus and spent hours, sometimes days, studying it. Mother was consumed by her research. Did she ever find anything? She sure tried. Mom thought she could find a way to purify the place and to exorcise its demons. Her obsession with the walled city grew, and she devoted more and more of her life to breaking its curse. Wish I could say that she fell off the radar, but really, the rest of the world fell off of hers. I'm sorry, Crafty. That must have been hard for you. It is what it is. And here I am. It sounds to me like you don't believe in your mother's research. I know we've just met, but you have a generous ear. I don't mind discussing my mother with you as long as we keep the details between us. Mother's research was stupid. Just plain stupid. She was not stupid herself. No, Mom was very, very bright, but her obsession was downright unhealthy. Anyone could see that. The walled city is a toxic place, home to dark spirits and astral influence, but Mom believed in a singular curse at the heart of the place. How did you two fall out? My mother failed to change the walled city, and the time she spent inside there changed her. She grew sickly and became moody, irritable. She suffered from night terrors the rest of her life. It must have been difficult to watch her decline like that. It wasn't just that. The breaking point for me was her ridiculous obsession. I refused to indulge her, and it drove a wedge between us. Neither of us were willing to relent. I guess we had that in common. Stubborn till the end. So after Mom died, I turned my back on her work and left the walled city and its people to themselves. It's a toxic site beyond rehabilitation. I do my best to ignore it. At least, I've tried. Now that these dreams, these nightmares are leaking out of the walled city, I wonder if I can still ignore it. We always have a choice. You're right, but not everyone's choices are weighed evenly, and I just don't think I can turn a blind eye to what's happening here. I have my mother's journals. I have the means to try and help, but it's sure to dredge up bad memories, but if it'll help my friends, maybe it'll be worth it. I don't know. I guess I have a lot to think about. Anyway, thanks for lending me that ear of yours. I've been thinking about the dreams. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. What do you think they're affecting people outside the walled city? It's definitely strange. Until now, I always thought the dreams were nonsense, that my mother just had night terrors because of her madness. But now it's really happening. And not just to me, to others around Hawaii. Those same psychic forces that drove Mom insane are edging into our subconscious. Lately, I've been wondering if there might have been something to her ravings. Maybe. I've been skeptical for so long it feels almost blasphemous to consider it. Maybe the walled city curse is real. I just don't know. Of all the people here, you have the greatest advantage when it comes to investigating these dreams. That's true, but my mother's notes are scattered all over the shop. Most of her research is scrawled in the margins of the books that you see on the shelves in piles and stacks all over. The clues we'd need to figure this thing out could be in any one of these volumes, and there are thousands of them. I have a bad feeling about these dreams, Crafty. If there is anything we can do to get to the bottom of them, we need to take that opportunity. Yeah, I know what I have to do. It's just... Damn. Look at them all. Guess I won't be finishing this one anytime soon. Alright, I'm going to get started. Now. But it'll take time. The House of Five Phases is jammed from floor to ceiling with books, and any one of them found could hold valuable information. Check in once in a while, and I'll share my findings with you. Sure thing. Keep me updated. Will do. Thanks, Crafty. See you around. Genuinely a pleasant person. Hope we'll speak again. I'm pretty sure we will. Now, what was that task? There's the mission computer. Your workstation and mission computer. The cool blue tones of the workstation's main menu to fill the screen. Check our inbox. 6 unread messages. Welcome to Heoi. On behalf of your friends at the Heoi Chamber of Commerce and the Swift Winds Mahjong Parlor, I welcome you to the community of Heoi and to our new business venture. I have already lined up 3 jobs for you. The details of each are contained in a separate computer message. Remember to check your messages often, as I will update you with new opportunities as they occur. On TC. Next, resources. From Bao Junjun. I have been instructed to inform you of the various suppliers present in Heoi. Auntie Cheng has cultivated a commercial district of well-stocked and trustworthy vendors. Whoever you choose to do business with, you will be in good hands. Ermine, Ka-Fi, and Club 88 is an excellent resource for acquiring additional weapons should you require any. If you are in need of magical supplies, go to the Parlor of 5 Phases. If you desire training in the path of the Adept, seek out Spider Shen. She can help you as well as supply you with any close-quarters weapons that you might desire. Crow Malley can supply you with cybernetic enhancements and medical supplies. The proprietor, 10-armed Ambrose, is a cyber surgeon of some repute. Law's Technopalace, or Law's Technopalace, is a one-pawn-run supplier of the local decking community. The place is hard to miss, just look for a sign glowing in the sky. If you need drones, reliable Matthews Robot Bazaar is your best bet, and I pity you. Best of luck in the shadows. As fresh meat, you are likely to need it. Strangler Bow. Your mission computer. From Isabel. Hey Val, I've set up your mission computer to automatically collect and collate news reports, information, and media that might be of interest to you. Some of the keywords I got it trolling for are things like Raymond, Duncan, Walled City, etc. I've also patched in a permanent link to the Hong Kong shard of the Shadowlands BBS. It's a great place to connect with other runners, sell pay data, get news from the street, and so on. Don't be shy about taking a look. Will do. First, serial killer. I've got a problem, and you're going to help me solve it. I do a lot of business with the Wampawans. If you're not familiar with the term, I'll forgive you. You're an outsider, after all. The Wampawans are a tribe of techno-fetishists and deckers who've taken a precedence in the Whampoa Garden area of Hong Kong. They make and trade high-tech goods to people from all over the world. A lot of new yen passes through their pasty little fingers, and I make a lot of money brokering deals between them and the smugglers here in Heoi. I've hit a snag, though. The Whampoan elders, their council of leaders, are being eliminated by a serial killer. They've asked me to dispatch someone to get to the bottom of it and stop the killings, and they're not taking their goods through my turf until I do. So you're going to be my proxy, dear. I don't care how you do it, but I need those murders stopped. The Whampoans have a delegate here in Heoi by the name of Maximum Law. Speak with him if you wish to know about Whampoa. He's got a big mouth, but he knows very little of importance. Don't expect much from that half-empty bottle of vinegar. You get your ass down to Whampoa Garden and talk to the elders. Lie, cheat, and steal if you have to, so long as they are convinced that there won't be any more murders. I want my cut back, and I want it soon. We can take it. Good. I'll tell the elders you're coming. They don't like outsiders, and they might shoot at you if you don't warn them that you'll be arriving. Pending job. Enter query. Anything else? Artifact liberation. Geomantic sabotage. Something tells me those are our other jobs as well. Let's look at Shadowland BBS while we're at it. Search BBS for relevant keywords. Thread, missed connections. You, rappelling down the side of an unnamed luxury hotel in a ball gown on Monday night. Me, admiring the view from the 28th floor urinals during a private soiree for an unnamed corporation that I was infiltrating. Our eyes meet briefly before you dropped out of sight. Your long dark hair had come loose from your chignon, flaming your beautiful flushed face. Framing, I will never forget it. You were carrying a duffel bag bulging with stolen prototype weaponry. Well, I filched the intel that goes with it. Can we connect? Blackjack. Very funny, Blackjack. I'm sorry the job went sideways. I got trapped and had the only way out. Red Queen. We were supposed to have each other's backs. Just wait till you hear the one way out that I had to take. We gotta lay low for now. And why are we posting about this on a public message board? Good question. terrorists in Hong Kong. Been hearing some buzz about some mainlander terrorists that showed up in Victoria Harbour and had a shootout with the HKPF the other day. Anyone heard anything on that? Donjan. Us? Mainlanders? I'm honestly insulted. Meng Pao said there were 4 of them that got away. 1 elf, 2 orcs, and a dwarf. A troll, an elf, and a human were all killed on the scene. Word is that they are members of the White Star out of Henan, coming here to start trouble again against the Executive Council. War threat. Looks like there is a 50,000 new yen reward for any information leading to their capture. The HKPF seems pretty nervous about letting these bastards walk freely around the streets. Heaven shot. You think they'd actually pay out to somebody like us? Not a chance. You walk in there to claim the reward, you're getting thrown into a hole with them. The HKPF does not keep promises to the sinless. Freedom cowboy. Couldn't hurt to try. Why'd it have to be such a downer? Well, it's your funeral. Because I know the police. They're all dirty, they're only in it to protect their paychecks, and they don't give a damn about anybody else. Believe me, I'm just looking out for your best interests. Like you and your triad looked out for my brother. You know he's still paying for his reconstructive surgery, you bastard. If a man wants to keep his teeth, he should pay what he owes rather than pull a gun on me. Simple as that. Same old, same old. Poetry Slam. Ladies and gentlemen, poets and Shadowrunners, welcome to the first annual Shadowland Poetry Slam. There are no rules and there are also no prizes except bragging rights. With no further ado, let the versification begin. Matrix Bard. How long do you think we can keep this going before the trolls show up or a sysadmin shuts us down? Jivebert. Why would they shut us down? It's a free board. We can be poetic if we want to. Tennyson. Just trust me. It happens. For some reason, these things always draw the worst sort of attention. Are you gonna give us a poem or are you gonna stand around complaining about why you can't? Alright, I've got one. Wait for it. Synth muscle, smartlings, neural boosters, cyber limbs, all fall to grenades. A little musing on the transience of life in the shadows. Very nice, sir. When the long shadows fall on Hong Kong, neon lights pierce the coming night. Tread with me in the velvet blackness. Let no lamp shine on our deeds. That one's entitled Our Hour. That might just have been the most pompous thing I've ever read. Try this on for size. Lasers are red, shadows are black. With Matt in the street, you'd best watch your back. Now you mad. My poem wasn't pompous, you uncultivated rube. It was an homage to Wang Wei, the famous Tang Dynasty master of the Juju form of poetry. It's traditional, unlike that ridiculous limerick that you posted. Now, I don't think you have to take the word slam quite so literally. Hey, you people know the rules. Poetry slams have been out of bounds from this BBS since the Laughing Man debacle of 55. If you want to sling your fancy words, do it on a different forum. I'm shutting this thread down. See? Told you. Walled City. I've got a courier job next week that's supposed to take me into the Walled City. I'm from Kuala Lumpur and I've never been to Hong Kong, but I hear that place is dangerous as hell. Is there anything I should know? Hanturaya. Oh, you've got nothing to worry about. It's just a low-cost housing development full of hard-working people. Here, take a look at this news report. A short trade clip begins playing. This is Sunny Cheng with Horizon News. On today's sunny side up, the Kowloon Walled City, a blight on the free enterprise zone, or low-cost housing for the economically disadvantaged. We'll introduce you to some of the hard-working residents, how they live and how they contribute to the growth and prosperity of our city. A montage sequence begins, showcasing the destitute poor of the Walled City going about their daily lives. The shots have been carefully chosen, showing only smiling and productive residents, a stark contrast to your own experience inside it. Many residents of Hong Kong regard the Walled City as a place of no return. To outsiders, it's the last stop on a long road to homelessness. Rumors abound of feral ghouls, unsafe living conditions, and triad extortion. Yet when we went there, the reality was far different. What we saw will shock you. Citizens of Hong Kong working and living just like the rest of us. Their apartments are smaller and their shops more modest, but the people who live here wouldn't be out of place anywhere in the Fez. Citizens like the shoemaker Chow Sang Tui. The scene cuts to an elderly man in a closet-sized stall filled with shoemaking equipment. He smiles broadly at the camera. Oh, I love it here. We have a community, you know? We're like family. Maybe we don't have it as nice as view as they do in Repulse Bay, but I can't imagine living anywhere else. It's not paradise, no, but it's my home. I grew up here. How could I possibly leave? The camera shifts back to Sunny Cheng, who now stands in front of one of the entrances to the walled city. Contrary to popular opinion, the walled city serves a vital function. The poor and downtrodden find a home in the walled city, a community where they have a voice, can work, and even prosper. Far from being the eyesore that the video suddenly stutters, freezes, and ends. Okay, I've decided to cut the rest of that crap. She keeps going on about what a good place the walled city is and how we all need it. Don't buy any of it. It may not be hell, but you can see it from here. Freedom Cowboy is just trying to get you in trouble. Isabel, coming in to rescue. So, how do you know the real story? Because I grew up there. You know what it's really like? It's eating old broth made from rat bones because there's nothing else. It's watching your neighbors sell their 5-year-old son to organ leggers so they don't starve to death. When you die in Walled City, your neighbors cheer because they'll get the clothes off your back. I wouldn't wish the Walled City on my worst enemy. Yep. That's a place. And we'll have to go there time and time again. But first, let's say hello to downstairs neighbor. It's oppressively hot down here, and the air is full of synthetic dough odors that grab you by the sinuses and refuse to let go. You can smell engine grease and melting plastic, ionized air, and lead solder. A quick scan of the room tells you why. The downstairs tenant has converted this space into a machine shop. Metal fabrication tools and Duraplast extruders line the walls, and a pair of heavy industrial manipulators hang from the ceiling. A man in a black trench coat stands with his back to you, staring at a monitor mounted above a sturdy workbench. He addresses you without turning. Ah, I was wondering when I'd meet the new neighbor. His voice is pleasant, cultured. There's a hint of a Russian accent there, but it's buried under layers of nuance. Please stay where you are. I'll be with you in just a moment. And unless you fancy an unplanned trip to Chrome Alley, don't touch anything. There are all manner of tools in here that could take your hand clean off. Take your time, I won't touch anything. Ah, you're very kind, thank you. Examine the robotic arms mounted on the ceiling. You focus on the enormous manipulator arms that you saw earlier. They're bulky industrial things dented from years of heavy use. Each arm has been fitted with at least a dozen different welders, soldering guns, extruders, and metal fabrication tools. You've seen machinery like this in factories before, but they look terribly out of place in the bolt-holes cramped engine room. Very good. Yes, that's coming along nicely. Very nicely indeed. He turns towards you, smiling, and for the first time you can see his face. He has broadly handsome Slavic features and a chiseled jaw. His eyes are like flecks of ice. So sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Our handle. That's no problem, don't worry about it. You're too kind. Now tell me, what can I do for... His voice trails off as a flash of motion catches his eye. With alarming speed, a sinister-looking drone scuttles out from under the work table. Its movements are surprisingly agile and fluid. The machine rears back menacingly, spreading its forelegs in a clear sign of aggression. The man's smile tilts, and his tone goes apologetic. Please don't mind the drone. He can be territorial, but so long as you remain civil, he will not bite. He extends a hand. Simultaneously, the drone relaxes into a neutral position, lowering its killing legs. Raktar, my mechanical counterpart here is called Koshchei. Shake his hand. A pleasure. His hand is rough and abnormally warm to the touch. He shakes your hand with a solid grip. I am very pleased to meet you, my friend. In a community such as Hawaii, it is important to be on good terms with one's neighbors. Agreed. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask you some questions if you have the time. He glances at the bracer on his forearm. The technical display winks to life, then gutters out. Very well. This morning's casting should still be cooling for a few minutes yet. That's time enough to talk. When you said this morning's casting, what did you mean? Exactly what I said. A casting that I made of a new locomotive assembly for Koshei. A biomimetic design, as you can see. This one is inspired by the walking legs of a decapod crustacean, the mangrove crab to be specific. That's fascinating. And will this new leg assembly make your drone more effective? That remains to be seen, but there is more to life than combat effectiveness, is there not? By fabricating new components for Koshei, I unlock options, different ways of being. Even the failures, and there have been many, have value in this context. How did you learn to... Wouldn't it be simpler to design the parts here and outsource the fabrication? Simpler? Yes, but not better. Here I have ultimate control over the entire process, from start to finish. And I have the skills to make good use of that control. Drone architecture was once my profession, you see. Now that I have freed myself from the shackles of corporate servitude, I see little reason to rely on outsiders for much of anything. Koshei is an interesting name for a drone. Yes, I suppose that is. Not many riggers would name their most prized possession after a villain from a fairy tale. And not to my heritage, I suppose. Yes, I know the story you're talking about. Koshei the Deathless. Oh, how marvelous. I hadn't thought to meet anyone versed in the Russian classics here in Hawaii. I've studied. If memory serves, Koshei the Deathless was an immortal villain and a kidnapper of women. Indeed, he was those things, but it was not Koshei's misdeeds that drew me to the name. I suppose that it was the notion of immortality through cleverness that resonated with me. There was something to be learned from that, I was sure. And so when it came time to name my beloved creation, his was the first name that came to mind. And is your drone deathless, like its namesake? In the manner of speaking, I suppose that he is. I have redundant copies of every piece of his architecture, and his core programming is stored on disk in a secret location. Should he ever suffer critical damage, I can easily bring him back. I had a plan once to automate the self-repair process. I must confess, it was really quite ingenious. But alas, my research was lost. One day, I will reclaim it, and Koshei will become as deathless as the stories claim. But it will not be today. Are you Russian? I thought I caught a hint of an accent there. Bit of a redundant question, but still. You have a good ear, I'm impressed. Yes, I grew up in Nizhny Novgorod. Went to school there, started my career there in the industrial sector. A fairly common story, I'm sure. But I have also traveled a great deal, and in so doing I have absorbed a number of other languages and dialects. If you were born and raised in Russia, what brings you to Hong Kong now? The same thing that attracts many to the free enterprise zone. Opportunity. You yourself are a recent transplant, are you not? Your Cantonese is heavily accented in the style of many UCIS expats. That isn't a criticism, mind you. It's just a statement of fact. You're right, I'm originally from Seattle. I figured as much. You're lucky to have lived in such a great city. One day after my business in Hong Kong has concluded, I would like to travel there myself and to visit its Renraku arcology. I have heard many impressive things about the SCIRE. The automated systems that it employs are rumored to be quite impressive. I should like to study them someday. Yeah, of course. And it's not just because of my academic upbringing. You've got some interesting machinery in here. Not the kind that you typically see outside of corporate settings. The same could be said of many in Hawaii, I'm sure. There is a smuggler's den. This is a smuggler's den, is it not? Our entire economy is based on people having things that they shouldn't. Is there a particular device that interests you, out of curiosity? The robotic arms that you got over there, they look like something taken from an automotive assembly plant. A good guess. That's precisely what they are. They fell off a boat, you might say. They weren't cheap, but I acquired them and had them mounted to the walls of my shop. I simply had to have them. The return on investment has been dramatic. Yes, they're cruder than by far than the Waldo devices that I used in my professional life, but they still do the job, and they are mine. They have increased my fabrication capabilities nearly tenfold, and that to me is worth any price. Nearly forgot that I'm supposed to be racist against elves. Well, good on you for remembering. You said that you used to work for a corp. Whose payroll were you on? That is something of a sore subject. My departure was involuntary, you see. I did not part ways with my employer under the best of terms. I will tell you that I worked for Grecian Aviacor, but you'll forgive me if I don't want to go into detail. Right. Keeping all of this machinery running can't be cheap. How can you afford it? Freelance. At the risk of sounding immodest, I've commodified myself rather well. There are always corporations in need of design consultations. You'd be surprised by how lucrative such work can be. And there is always other work that I can turn into a pinch. You said that you did other work besides consulting. Care to tell me what kind? A rather personal question, wouldn't you say? Maybe, but then we are having a personal conversation. Indeed we are, but even in personal conversations, certain topics can be held off limits. Truth be told, I don't feel especially comfortable discussing my side work with relative strangers. Suffice to say that my freelance activities often fall on the illicit end of the spectrum. Tell you what, I'm just gonna guess. You're a Shadowrunner, aren't you? I dislike the term, but yes, I run the shadows. What gave me away? Design consultants live in apartments in Victoria Harbor. You're living in a rusted out boat in Hawaii. There's gotta be a reason for that. You are correct, of course. The residents of shadow communities are usually either too poor to live elsewhere or engage in behaviors too illicit to risk it. I will admit to being in the latter camp. Designing robotics is my passion, but it does not always pay the bills. My status as a foreigner has proven something of an impediment in this regard. And so, sorry as I may have to say, the lion's share of my income flows from Koshi's aptitude for butchery. Such is life, I suppose. We do what we must to do what we love. And yes, thank you. Seems like everybody on this boat runs the shadows. Why not pool our resources and work together? A compelling offer. I'm doing quite well on my own, but I must admit that there are certain jobs for which I am unsuited. Magic eludes me, and I am not a decker. My strength comes from material objects in the real world. Solid things with mass and heft. Things that I can build and operate. Sadly, a great many clients are only interested in teams that display a mastery over the intangible. This group of yours, do you have people who can cover those bases? If so, then perhaps we can expect each other out. We can help each other out. Yep, we've also got a former security expert. I guess that's the best way to describe Duncan. In that case, I will accept your offer on a provisional basis. We'll do a few runs together and see how well we get on. If our association bears fruit, I will continue. If not, I will bid you my farewell and go back to working alone. How does that sound? Welcome aboard. Very good, excellent. Then, when you receive a job, you know where to find me. My skills and resources are at your disposal. And with that, I'm afraid that I must bid you good day. I still have work to do down here. This leg assembly won't clean itself. I'll be in touch. Looking forward to working with you. And I with you. And you still have about 10 minutes before you leave. So no, you don't get to say goodbye to Ractor yet. And this will be a room for our surprise 5th party member. You'll know it when you'll see it. Duncan, you in here? Of course you are. Boo's cabin appears to be the only clean spot in the bolt hole. His equipment is neatly laid out in his bedding, grouped by type, arranged just so. He's currently in the process of cleaning his weapon with meticulous care. Well, that's that, I guess. The runners know. I can pass out in chat. Hopefully. Yep, think it's time to catch up? Could be. That's why I'm maintaining my equipment. It helps me focus my brain, work through stuff. Now's as good a time as any, I guess. Where do you want to start? I can't get that dream that I had out of my head. You said you had one too, right? Yeah, yours sounded like a nasty one. I don't remember much about mine. I was pretty creeped out by our run into the walled city. Between that and the drama, I'd be surprised if I didn't have a nightmare. Was the walled city in your dreams? Of course, the walled city wasn't my dream. It was a nightmare, wasn't it? Was it in your dream too? Sure looked like it. I'm not sure I'm surprised. The walled city is more than just another slum in a sprawl. Hell, it is a sprawl. Of course we dreamed about it. The feeling I had there has stayed with me. It felt thick, heavy, and I got this overwhelming feeling of, I don't know, wretchedness, I guess. Did it feel any different from other nightmares you've had? You know how sometimes you'll be mad at a friend in a dream and then wake up still mad at him? Then you treat him like he did something wrong when you see him? It kinda feels like that to me. Like I dreamed I was swimming towards a bright light, and when I woke up I was out of breath from the effort. Anything else you remember? Just the little snatches of things. The walled city was breathing, and it had teeth everywhere. And there was a tunnel that was so bright that I had to shut my eyes. And Raymond was there. He was either kneeling or lying down, I can't remember which, but he was crying. That's what made me wake up, the sound of my father crying. Let's talk about something else, specifically Raymond. Okay, shoot. What do you think is going on with him? I don't know. He was clearly obsessed with the walled city and whatever prosperity he is. He sounds like a sleepwalker trying to stumble his way through a dream or something. A sleepwalker who hires Shadowrunners. Whatever he was doing, he knew it would be dangerous. Raymond was smart. Smart as hell. If he thought he needed runners to take him into that place, he needed them. Why do you think he came to Hong Kong? Well, he's from here, right? It sounds like he had unfinished business that he needed to take care of before... You think he's dying? I don't know. Yeah, me neither. Just something to think about. Did he say anything about me after I left? You know, Raymond, he taught us what he wanted us to teach. Told us that what he wanted us to know. Everything else was met with a wall of good-natured silence. He used to say, "You are the master of the unspoken word, Mr. Wu. Once it's out of your mouth, it is out of your control." So no, after you left, he never said a word about you. Not a word. Let's talk about being Shadowrunners then. What's there to say? I worked my ass off to pull myself out of the gutter and make something out of my life. I did what I took to earn my bronze, and now I'm a mercenary hiding in the shadows of a foreign country, doing dirty jobs that the corps need to keep off the books. It's the reverse of everything I ever wanted. You seem to be taking it pretty damn well, so let me ask you something. You said you thought that Raymond was alive too, that would run the shadows until we could figure out what happened to him. Was that true? Yes. For me, this is all about finding out what really happened to Raymond. Good that we're on the same page. I feel better knowing that. What's your opinion of Kindly Cheng? I'd say she's got us right where she wants us, right under her thumb. What do you want to talk about specifically? What do you think she wants from us? As long as her network keeps delivering information about Raymond, I don't care, at least for now. We need to stay with her. We have no other connections in Hong Kong. Without her, we're dead in the water. You think we can trust her? A triad boss and underground fixer? No, I don't think we can trust her. But as long as we all share the same goals, we should be okay. Makes sense. As long as we serve her interests, she does not have a reason to screw us over. Exactly. It's simple. She provides jobs, we do jobs. She gets info about Raymond and that plastic-faced man, and we figure out what the hell is going on. We figure out what's going on, she does not end up in the trunk of a car at the bottom of the river. Everybody wins. What about this plastic-faced man? Creepy dudes are nothing new to me. Even well-dressed, creepy corporate dudes. Between the gangers we grew up with and the shit that I've run into as a cop, I've seen all kinds. I just want to know who he is and who he works for. And we should keep an eye on Strangler Bow. We should keep an eye on everybody, and that guy is definitely no exception. I've seen plenty of cold killers in the Barrens, and plenty more when I joined Lone Star. This guy is the real deal. I'm not sure if he knows what the word remorse even means. You should steer clear of him. I'll be careful. I can see that. And that should be... Oh, let's talk about Gobbet and Isobel. They seem competent, considering how young they are. But then again, they sound like they've been taking care of themselves since they were pretty young. The three of us worked together well in the walled city. Based on that, I'd bet the four of us would make a solid crew. Do you trust them? As far as I can trust any runner, yeah. It's like Raymond used to say, trust and verify. They haven't given me a reason not to trust them, so until they do, I'll believe what they say and keep my eyes open. Let's talk later. Later's good. I want to do some cardio, work off some steam, then it's rack time for me. You should do the same. A couple 100 push-ups would do you good. Ain't that the truth? Please. Thanks for the offer, but I think I'll go have a drink instead. Your loss. Talk to you later. Gobbet? How's it going? Gobbet's nest is pretty much what you'd expect. Piles of clothes on the ground, an overflowing garbage bin surrounded by stacks of instant noodle packets and towers of tinned oysters, avant-garde posters haphazardly thumbtacked to the walls, overlapping in some places and peeling in others. It feels like a lot of an art school dorm room. Gobbet reclines in a corner, cradling a bowl of soup in her hands. At her feet, a cast-iron pot simmers away on an electric hot plate. The contents are typical Hong Kong comfort food: chicken-style soya broth, elbow macaroni, tinned ham, and a heaping scoop of egg-flavored mycoprotein. As you wind your way through the piles of dirty laundry, Gobbet slowly lifts her head from her bowl to acknowledge you. Hey, Seattle. She chews on the words along with a mouthful of cheap pasta. A corner of her mouth curls up into a half-smile. How's tricks? I'm gonna ignore my own advice and keep watching. You do that. Things have been better, things have been worse. That's the attitude. Very stoic, very strong. It's downright inspiring. She skims an oily slab of faux ham off the top of her soup and pops it into her mouth. Now, you want to tell me what you're doing in my bedroom? I'm assuming you're not here to admire the view. Have you had any nightmares recently? Like, bad ones? Yeah. Yeah, I have. We all have. Everyone in town. Everyone, huh? Doesn't that strike you as odd? Sure does. But then lots of odd stuff happens in Hawaii. In case you hadn't gotten the memo, we aren't in the best part of town. In all seriousness, the dreams are coming from inside the walled city. I'm pretty sure of that. All of the negative energy pent up in there, all of that pain and anger and poisonous chi, it's leaking out. And while we sleep, it's getting into us. You think that this is a magical phenomenon then? Yeah, I think it is. Want my personal opinion? The walled city is cursed. Deep down, I think that everybody knows it. And we live in its shadow. That's bound to mess with your head, you know? And it is. But they're just dreams. It's not like they can hurt us, right? You're tempting fate, Gobbet. Who says that they can't? She tries on a smile, fails, does her best to laugh it off. Don't worry, Seattle, we're fine, but let's talk about something else, huh? I don't like thinking about the walled city very much. Too many old fears and bad feelings. How did you decide on the name Gobbet anyway? I didn't. My mom did. So, Gobbet is your given name? Your mother named you after a wad of meat? Yeah, sure. I don't think she knew what it meant, just thought that it sounded pretty. You should get used to that, by the way. People here in Hong Kong like to stand out, and choosing unique names is one of the ways that they do it. If you're up to talking about it, I wanted to go over the ambush back in the docks with you. Yeah, I figured you would. That was a hell of a thing, right? You could say that. It was fucking awful. Nightjar and Gutshot were two of the strongest men I've ever known. Quality Shadowrunners, both of them. I've watched those two fight through situations that kill anyone and come out on top. And how do they go out? Bang, bang, dead, dead. No blaze of glory, no final speech, just extinguished. Smashed like bugs. They went quick and clean. We should all be so lucky. No way. Not me. When I die, I want to know what's coming. Just winking out like that is the worst thing I can imagine. Even a drawn-out, painful death would be better. At least I'd have time to say my goodbyes. Yeah, I guess I can see that. Of course you can, because I'm right. You don't want to go gentle into that good night any more than I do. Nightjar and Gutshot, they never got the opportunity to choose. It's fucking depressing. Carter didn't get to choose either. She went down in the Alpha Strike just like your teammates did. Yeah, she seemed like a good woman. Tough, skilled, light on her feet. But in the end it didn't matter because some asshole with a rifle made a decision half a mile away. All of us got out of there though. We're all still alive because of you. It was more Rat than me. She is the one who grabbed me by the gut and led us to that sewer entrance. All I did was follow. Do you always let your rats drink out of your own bowl? Sure, why not? We're all a part of the same nest. Is that hygienic? Stupid question. Probably not, but I've never gotten sick, so... She raises an eyebrow, scoops a noodle out of the bowl, and pops it into her mouth with a satisfied smile. So tell me more about the rat. What kind of totem is she? A clever one. She's got me out of more trouble than I care to mention. Got me into a fair amount of it, too. But I can always count on her to lead me out of hot water when I need her to. I can feel it in my belly, you know? Sort of a tugging sensation. I've long since learned to follow it. I'm a shaman myself, partially. Never had my totem take an active role in leading me anywhere before. Don't feel bad about it. Me and Rat... Well, we have a sort of a special bond. She takes care of me, and I've always done my best to take care of her. And to spoil and pamper her earthly children. Like these two. Meet Madness and Folly. Interesting choice of names. I like the way they sound. Madness and Folly. It has a nice ring to it, right? My girls remind me not to take myself too seriously. I wouldn't trust Folly, though. She bites. How did you come across them? I looked outside. I mean, the rats. Hong Kong isn't experiencing a rodent shortage or anything. So you just picked them up off the street? Yep, think of them as rescue vermin. You could probably do the same if you wanted to. It's easy. Just walk into any alleyway in Kowloon after sundown and stick your hand in the first dumpster of storm drain that you come across. Keep fishing around until you touch fur. That sounds like a really bad idea. Yeah, in retrospect it might have been. Odds are about 50-50 that you'd get your hand chewed off. I'd probably feel bad about that. You seem pretty comfortable with all of this. Been running the shadows for a while? A long time. Started when I was just a kid. You're still a kid now, Gobbet. What are you, 19? Something like that. Your guess is as good as mine. Doesn't change the fact that I've been doing this for years and you started yesterday. Matter of fact, Seattle, I think that I'm gonna make a project of you. Take you under my wing, so to speak. You need a wise mentor. Might as well be me. Sure, why not? I could use the advice, and I don't see Isabel volunteering for the job anytime soon. You're in? Good. Starting the next time you visit, I'm gonna teach you all about being a Shadowrunner. You're gonna benefit from my bountiful experience. Wait and see. Lucky me. Gobbet stretches, stifles a yawn, her rats scurry from her shoulders down to her hips. She taps the simmering pot on the floor with her boot. The soup inside has reduced it down into thick, viscous gravy. You know, Seattle, this has been a nice chat and all, but it's getting late, and I still have the rest of a hot pot to power through. So without wanting this to get awkward... Let's try and take our chances. I could help you with that if you wanted. Thanks, but no thanks. You can go get your own food. Now would be a good time. Alright, I get it. Talk to you later, Gobbet. Yeah, we'll do that. It'll be fun. I won't stop you from scarfing it all down. Isabel's cabin is an exercise in controlled chaos. Her living space is utterly dominated by an enormous jury-rigged computer. Serpentine cables snake from component to component, tying dozens of obsolete terminals and cyberdecks together into a single colossal machine. This is my personal machine. If you're looking for your mission computer, it's downstairs. She doesn't bother looking up. You can see that she's elbow-deep in the guts of an obsolete cyberdeck, 1.5 dozen that have been wired into her computer with braided cables. Actually, I was hoping to talk to you. Got a second? We're talking now, aren't we? I guess so, yeah. Can I ask you a few questions? Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Have you been having weird dreams recently? Yes, I think that everybody has. Me too, and Gobbet. We both had terrible nightmares. I know, it happens more often than you'd think. This kind of mass psychosis was common where I grew up. Everybody got it. Mass psychosis? Seems more like a magical phenomenon to me. I don't really know what it is, and I don't think I want to. I just want to work on my computer in peace. Speaking of, that's quite a machine you're working on. Care to tell me about it? She is my pet project. I call her the Octopus. You might be able to guess why. Impressive work. How well does it perform? She is a monster. An absolute beast. What is this thing made of? Whatever I could find. Busted terminals, obsolete cyberdecks, aftermarket memory from Maximum Law's dumpster. Scavengers would kill for this stuff in the walled city. But out here, people throw it away. Most deckers are early adopters. They buy whatever's newest, shell out huge amounts of new yen in hopes of riding the bleeding edge. Stupid. It's an arms race. Deckers do what they have to do. They do what's easy. Throw money at the problem. Amateurs. For a quarter the price of that whiz new cyberdeck, I can have 5 of last year's model. And after I finish daisy chaining them together, the machine that I've built will run circles around your store-bought wonder. Now that's the mindset of a Raspberry Pi owner. Makes sense to me. Good. That's a good sign. Shows that you're thinking clearly. So, was there something else that you needed? What about your portable gear? Your cyberdeck, software, that sort of thing? It gets the job done. Might not be top of the line, but it's comfortable in using it in the field. If you should happen to come across any more advanced hardware or software, either in the job or in the discount bracket Law's Technopalace, I'm not above taking donations. But barring that, I'm fine with using what I've got. Your call. Can we talk about the ambush at Victoria Harbor? I'd rather not. I lost friends here. Duncan and I didn't come out of the attack unscathed either. They shot Carter down, same as your friends. Was she a friend? You didn't seem that close. Fair point. However, she was Duncan's friend. You don't like talking about things other than your computer very much, do you? I prefer not to. Nothing personal, it's just the way that I am. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to know who I'm running with. Don't you? Yes, you're still a mystery to me. I don't like mysteries, but I do enjoy solving them. So here is what we're going to do. I'm gonna ask you a question. Something personal. After you've given me an answer, you get to ask me something. And think of it like a game of questions. We take turns until one of us wants to quit. Deal? Deal. You go first. Ask away. We'll start off easy. Tell me what you really think about Duncan. I love and respect the man. His family. I've heard how you abandoned him back in Seattle. If that's love, you've got a funny way of showing it. Well, you've answered my question. I guess that makes it your turn. How did you and Gobbet meet? We met as kids, in the walled city. My prison was her playground. You okay, Isabel? Of course, I'm okay. I'm fine. I just have a hard time remembering those days. My childhood is kind of a blur. And that would make it my turn. So tell me, what was your connection to Raymond Black? He was my benefactor and mentor. I respected him. In that case, my condolences. It's always difficult to lose someone who you respect. Your turn. Ask me a question, then I'll give you an answer. How long have you been running the shadows in the shadows with Gobbet? That's a good question. I guess about 4 years now. A decent stretch by anyone's reckoning. And that brings us back to my turn. You enjoy, don't you? Living like this? Working the shadows? This is survival. I do what I have to. Enjoyment does not come into it. We may have more in common than I thought. Your turn again. Go ahead, ask me something. Where did you learn to deck? The Whampoa. I lived there for a while after escaping the walled city. The people there were difficult. We didn't get along, but it was a great place to learn. My turn again. And I think my last question for you. You're stuck here. Marooned. You and Duncan both. He's obviously unhappy with the situation. He keeps going on about the things that he left behind. But what about you? Is there anything that you'd want to get back to? Yeah, I left something important behind. My entire life. You've still got a life. It might not be the one that you want, but you've got it. Considering what's went down in the docks, that's saying something. She glances down at the clock on her desk. An antique model with physical hands that looks like it was wrenched out of a submarine. A frown spreads across her face. Shit, it's even later than I thought. I've still got a long way to go before the octopus is fixed. Hang on, Isabel, you still owe me another question. That's true. Go ahead. I need you to tell me what you can about the walled city. Why? Why do you think that hellhole is getting into our heads, influencing our dreams? No. I'm sorry, but no. Later, maybe, but not now. Alright, Isabel. Maybe next time. Please excuse me, I have work to do. Kowloon is definitely a painful topic for her. So keep that in mind for the next time. But now let's go speak to Maximum Law. After all, he does need to put out a warning for our clients that were coming. I think it was somewhere around here. Yep, there he is. I'm thinking that's him. because that's definitely reliable Matthew, but maybe elsewhere. Yeah, could be on another angle, or rather in another part of the market. Yeah, there it is. Lost Techno Palace. Yeah, no more casually mentioning Hell City to her. There he is, Maximum Law. Overhead, a gigantic holosign shines like a searchlight, screaming its message through the dim light. It hums and flickers, sputtering like an old engine. Fierce electrical crackles sporadically burst out of the sign's emitter, stabbing your eyes and filling your ears with static. Under the baleful glare of the sign, the rusty mini-barge's deck is stacked with electronics. Dilapidated stereos share space with crispy boxed servers. Ranks of disks and memory chips fill display cases, padlocked under plexiglass. A short human in his late 20s stands in the middle, hands on his hips, talking loudly into the air. Bulky virtual reality goggles cover his eyes. A data jack cable runs from his temple, down his stained t-shirt, and to a belt load of clearly home-built computer hardware. No, I'm telling you. His voice is shrill, clipped. Nobody uses KM3s. Like, nobody. They're shit. I don't care what Dank says. If Shiawase SRP uses KM3s, they're stupid. Hey, flash is rolling up. I gotta go. He turns to face you, goggles blank and enigmatic, blinking you with tiny lights and wrapped in duct tape. He points at your PDA. I ripped that PDA. You work for kindly. Yo, what do you want? Who are you? Who am I? You're new here, I get it. You don't know about me yet, but you will. I'm one of the guys that keeps his neighborhood running. This is Law's Technology Palace, satellite territory of Whampoa. You step on the boat, you're in a sovereign state. I represent Whampoa here. I'm Maximum Law. The Maximum Law, yo. You got a tech problem? Boom, I solve it. You need software? Boom, done. But don't waste my time. So, you got any business in Whampoa right now? If not, keep moving. Found this while poking around in the walled city. Worth anything? Yo! That shit is banned! Left it off some Yellow Lotus? They traffic this stuff. Delimited SIM chips, full sensory experiences. You looking for a buyer? I can make it happen. How's 120 sound? Sure, take it. Hope it finds a good home. Well, yeah, I'll sample it first. But these Calhots can send you for a trip. Don't worry, I can handle my Sims. That's an amazingly ostentatious holosign you've got. Yo, it's pretty boss. Yeah, pretty boss. Damn right. You're a guy who appreciates the good stuff. I like that. Half of Hawaii gets its juice from a pirate tap on a big Mitsuhama DC cable under the river. Mitsuhama's like, oh, let's turn 2 million volts of the cold fusion plant to the island under the river. Those slum monkeys can't tap an underwater cable. Idiots. You know who built the tap that pulls electricity off that cable? Whampoa. You know whose barge holds the transformer? Mine. Cheap power for all and that whole lot of extra for me. Behold the lighthouse of Boom. Why are you wearing VR goggles? It's not VR, it's augmented reality. We're pioneering it. Little cameras, matrix overlay. I can support a 3-dimensional HUD and sub-windows from live multiple feeds. I've got a command shell open right now. I'm networked with 5 guys. Wave of the future. Wave of the future, huh? A future where you can't look anyone in the eye and you resemble a B-grade sci-fi character? No, let's play up our magical angle. Techie is trying to proxy for astral perception with gadgets. Cute. Don't give me that woo-woo villain chaser bullshit. All that astral stuff doesn't do anything tech can do better. Ultimately, it's just a shortcut. Law says with supreme confidence, a statement of perfect tech fact. He hooks with his thumbs in his bulky electronics belt. Boom! Looks like you got some dangerously exposed wires over there. Yeah, that's advanced power stealing. Yo, what are you... My mother? Those wires are fine where they are, high and dry. They're only a problem for someone who does something stupid. I'm running a high bandwidth tech operation. Do I look like I have time to tape copper and sip tea? No, I don't. These are the only wires you need to think about. Tell me about Wampoa. We're pretty much the best, yo. What do you want to know? Law folds his arms impatiently, as if he is irritated by your request, but he can't quite stifle a proud grin. Just tell me about the tribe, generally. Who are you guys? You really are new to the Kong, are you? We're the Neo Matrix Collective. We're on the Hong Kong Data Haven and the Kong Shadow Nets. We are the Kong Shadow Nets. Outside the corporate nets is the rest of the Kong, and in those shadows you will find threads of golden light like a vast spider web that carry information. Those golden threads and that web is Wampoa. My buddy Redstorm wrote that. Pretty wicked, huh? Anyway, we're bleeding edge on the path to the singularity. We're doing things no one else is doing, anywhere. Except maybe Denver or Tokyo. Our homeland is the Matrix, and we're building a society of truth and expertise and information. You seem very outspoken. Less modest than many Hong Kongers. Is that tribal? I'm more outspoken, yo. I don't need the meat space rituals. Modesty is inefficient. Is that a one-point thing? For those of us who are most dialed, maybe. We're post-cultural. I hardly see any of this meat space. Our meat space quarters is a 20th century ship that is totally awesome. Whatever, it's just meat space. Wampoa is bleeding edge on a path to becoming the singularity. And in the singularity, there's gonna be nothing but straight-up truth. Boom! Truth. What's Wampoa doing in Kindly's turf? Are you a liaison? What am I doing here? I'm an ambassador. I broker Wampoa's services to Hawaii. Emissaries like me are all over the Kong, tying it together with an invisible network. So you work with Kindly, doing tech for the Yellow Lotus? Well, I do some work directly with Kindly, but my focus is more at the street level. We're all part of a big machine, each piece playing its critical role. As is so with any highly... So you're just a little cog in a big machine, huh? What? Hey! I'm an important part of an ascendant entity. If you're ignorant... Yo, that's not my problem. Does Wampoa provide any technical services for Hong Kong's poor? Sure we do. We're on pirate networks. Our services are way more than most ordinary people want, though. You can get prepaid bandwidth with a corporate carrier for fractions of a new yen, but you're selling your soul. They monitor it. If you want to operate unmonitored by corporate algorithms, you've got to fly through the Wampoa network. It's the only place to be. Wampoans are coders and techers for criminals, is that right? We do tech for anyone in the Kong outside the corporate umbrellas. Anyone can use our networks if they pass our vetting and can pay for what we bring. It's mostly the extra legal element that needs our skill. I understand someone's killing your elders. His face goes grim. A red light blinks on the VR goggles. A lens whirs quietly, focusing on you. He grinds his teeth audibly, radiating nervousness and intensity. Yeah, shit's crazy. Full-on medieval. I can't talk about it. It's a tribal matter. Controlled information, right? We're gonna solve it. That's all outsiders need to know. Actually, I've been contacted to help the elders stop the murders. Wow. Really? We're pulling in outsiders? Well, I should have seen that coming. What the hell are you doing here? Go to the garden and help stop that shit. Then come back and tell me what's going on. Everybody is guessing. The elders are being quiet and the rumors have us going crazy. Outsiders don't understand us. Maybe you can, if you're really smart. We're in a whole different world than most people. Like, I'm seeing 3 streaming videos and live network stats in my goggles right now. Time's wasting. You gonna buy something? Of course not. See you later. Yeah, whatever. I do hope it all works out for you. And while we are at it, we cannot enter Club 88, or I think we can. After all, that's where we buy our guns from. Like most troll bouncers, this man is knotted with muscles, but absent are the myriad scars that come with age or indiscretion. His only blemishes are the bony skin growths common to his kind, and a single deep scar across his neck and collarbone. You watch yourself in here, or else we check your aerodynamics. Aerodynamics? Anyone causes trouble, I see how far I can throw them. No fighting, no killing, no sex trade. I don't mess around. Short and to the point. Got it. Better grown than most of his kind, the young troll nonetheless ruins the effort with his own blatant drunkenness. His eyes are reddened with expression foggy, but he otherwise appears to be high-functioning. Have a drink, friend. Have two. Then maybe something else to chase it, huh? Not while I'm on the job. You should have my job, then. I'm a prince of Club 88. Chosen you, I'd say. You part of the family that owns this place? You are a shrewd one, friend. I am the heir apparent, and my birthright to peddle chems to every sniffer that passes through our gates. What do you say? Need something to pick you up or bring you down? Can you tell me what I might find around here? Not a hell of a lot, but I suppose it depends what you're in the market for. I'm your man for chemistry. My ma offers an assortment of firearms in the back. Everything else is just glitter and smoke. If you're looking for tech, Law's place sells all the technobaubles you could ask for. Just walk towards the giant blue holo sign that gives everyone a headache. Out further is on the same dock, Reliable Matthews, your basic, used drone salesman. He's the only game in town for that sort of stuff. If you're needing magical Watsits, try the Parlor of Five Phases. Haven't a clue about that stuff myself, but both places certainly smell legit from the street. You're better off staying here, though. I could set you up with an ampoule of something really smooth. Not right now, thanks. We don't need combat drugs just yet. Another member of the family. There is only one way to describe the troll haunting the back of Club 88. Weathered. It's as if the man has been carved from granite and then battered by the crash of waves and salty winds over the course of decades. Welcome to Club 88. No killing, no fighting, no sex trade. Rules are rules. You're the one who makes them? In part, along with my better half. I'm Henry Kaffai, co-owner of the club. Yep, just regular ones. Not yet, of course. If you're looking for guns, speak to my wife. If you're looking for farmers, speak to my son Callum. And if you're looking for trouble, you'll be seeing my son Frederick. Briefly. I'll leave you be. Anyway, I hope you have actual medical supplies. And not, you know... Creme, Hyper, and Toko. Well, Creme is always good. In terms of, well, combat, that is. And let's say hello to the matron of the family. Ermine Kaffai. The older troll woman has a striking Amazonian quality. When she was younger, she must have really turned heads. Can I help you? I'm usually beyond helping, but what can you offer? Guns or a swift kick out the door if you mess with me or mine. This is my family's place. Me, my husband, and our 2 boys. Now, do you have business with me? I have no time for window shoppers. What have you got for sale? Firearms from all over the world, from Ares to Walter and everything in between. You in the market? Let's take a look. There's weapons. There's the one that we currently own, Ficcetti Security 500. Maybe we could go with a smart link, but that requires a data jack and we do not have it yet, so... We don't even need weapons since we are a mage. But we might go for Secure Tech armored clothing, when we have a little bit more to spare. Plus maybe a frag grenade. Or a flashbang. I'll buy a frag grenade, just so that we don't leave empty-handed from her. Like so. Come back anytime. Anything else you need? What can you tell me about Heoi? There's only one thing you need to know. The corporations do not rule Heoi. We're under Kindly Cheng's umbrella, and her Yellow Lotus soldiers protect the docks and maintain the peace. But we're not Triad members, and they don't own us. Heoi is a crossroads where goods change hands and deals are made. Kindly makes the market, but we, the families, make it happen. Ermine speaks with the pride of a woman who bows politely to great powers but never prostrates herself before them. Families rebuilt this place when I was left to rot. Strong families, like mine, and we protect our own. Outsiders and corps know that tangling with Heoi is more trouble than we are worth. The Triads know it is better to work with us than against us. And now you know these things as well. You would do well to remember them. Now, are you looking to buy? Maybe another time. Very well. And something else? No? Goodbye. Now let's see about that task. Or well, a better question would, or rather better yet, a job. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. A job. Head to Whampoa Gardens to discover who's killing the Whampoan elders. In addition to your team, your fixer has access to a small network of mercenaries in the Kowloon area. These runners appear below your core team on the runner selection screen and can be hired on a mission-to-mission basis. As you complete missions, both your team members and the available mercenaries will periodically gain access to new equipment and abilities. Any new items, spells, weapons, or weapon abilities that a runner gains will automatically be available to use next time you take them on a mission. But we will be taking Isabel. We will be taking Gobbet. And I'm thinking we'll be taking Rector for this one, since we are dealing with techno-fetishists. Duncan will have to sit this one out. For now. Okay. Whampoa Garden, a carnival of chrome and neon, rife with every manner of technology and artifice one can imagine. The entire area has the feel of a night market, save that chips are sold in lieu of steamed buns, and vendors hawk the latest drones rather than folk art. Something stalks these streets, hiding just out of sight. It stalks the Whampoan elders, the leaders of the band of tech-savvy squatters that have claimed this neighborhood as their own. The streets smell of ozone and fear, and those Whampoans you pass in the MTR station have a haunted, furtive look in their eye. While the killer has struck only at the elders thus far, it may only be a matter of time before these ordinary residents are menaced as well. The furtive Whampoan, so easily forgotten. We're all good in that regard. So off we go. Hopefully I can upgrade my spells after this one. And we have how much karma available to spend? I'm thinking it was 2, right? 8, actually. Then I'm thinking we can see as to what it can be spent on. Quickness gives us the chance to hit in ranged combat. Dodge gives us the chance to... reduces the chance to be hit by physical attacks. That's always a good investment. Strength we can leave at 2, intelligence at 3. That's used in decking and rigging to calculate the chance to hit with computer programs. Also reduces the chance to be hit by enemy programs in the Matrix. So we're not leveling that one. Willpower is for spellcasting, naturally. But the charisma will give us another etiquette. So we'll go for that one. Now we got academic, we got gang, so I'm thinking we pick up Shadowrunner. As is expected of us. And then we can put points into willpower and spellcasting. The streets of Whampoa Garden are slick with rain, glittering under the neon glow of myriad signs and holographic displays. The sky reflects the same glow, painting the white apartment blocks the sickly orange of sodium streetlights. The smell of grilling meat mingles with other rarer scents, ozone, engine oil, and high-tech fabrication facilities. Despite the hour, there are plenty of people out and about. You can hear the calls of street vendors and touts urging people into their stores. The sounds of big city. Isabel wrinkles her nose, scowling darkly. She wraps her arms tightly around her chest, staring off into the distance. Is there a word for feeling nostalgic for a place you can't wait to leave again? I don't miss this place, but I miss the feeling I had when I lived here. Saudade, maybe? No, that's not it. It's close, but... Jamais vu? Anemoia? Schadenfreude? No, that's definitely not that one. This place seemed like heaven after the walled garden, after the walled city. Like the whole world had unfurled in front of me, and anywhere I turned there was the promise of a good life. Turned out this place was just as crappy as everywhere else. Everyone was still in it for themselves. Ain't that the truth? That's a great life session is. I'm serious. At the end of the day, life's a raw deal. You've got yourself and a handful of friends and that's it. Nothing else. A curious philosophy, Gobbit. Certainly no objective meaning can be applied to the human experience, but the sum total of culture and progress since the time of Homo erectus has shown that humans are capable of self-organizing into beneficial... Boring! We're looking for the Whampoan Elders. They're gonna be in the Whampoan itself. That's the big ship down the street. I've seen pictures. It looks like a yacht. That's the one. Kinda hard to miss, and it's been a fixture since late last century. These days it's just a squat. Shops are family affairs, not corporate ones. Anything I should know about the Whampoans? They're all tech heads, tinkerers, and self-taught scientists. Despite the fact that there is no formal education system, everyone here is pretty smart. They apprentice kids to skilled workers so they can learn a trade. Elder Gao taught me decking, and I left after she got brain fried trying to crack a Mitsuhama network. Elder Ip taught me to shoot. He should still be here. Come on, let's go see what they've got to say for themselves. I heard he's not just dead, he's been all cut up. The elders don't want anyone to go inside without their permission. It must be pretty bad in there. Promising already. And that's Elder Ngu. This orc woman is festooned with small circuits, tiny trade screens, and speakers. The trade screens display snippets of trade broadcasts from every corner of the world. The tiny speakers play counterpoint with a susurrus of voices speaking Sperthiel, Punjabi, Kazakh, and other languages. Her expression is haggard, and she fidgets with her fingers as you approach. Sperthiel, if memory serves, is elf speak. Welcome. Welcome to the Whampoa, my friend. I'm Elder Ngu, and these are Elders Tang and Ip. Ngu gestures to the elf and human, who each incline their heads respectfully. Thank you so much for answering the request for help. We had nowhere else to turn. It's the least I could do. Elder Tang's skin, glowing tattoos, writhe and change shape. Tigers become cranes and move to onto dragons. We're under threat. One by one, we elders are being hunted by some monster. As you may have noticed when you arrived, there's been another killing just tonight. Ip crosses his solid chrome arms. Holographic readouts dance constantly over their surface, displaying diagnostic information about their state. Operating temperature, servo pressure, and a variety of other minutiae. He looks past you towards Isabel. The prodigal daughter, returned once more. I didn't expect to see you back aboard the Wampoa in my lifetime, Isabel. When you disappeared, Elder Yetunde was very put out. I'm glad you're still alive. When you chose to walk your own path, I was disappointed, but I still understood why you had to leave. I hope my lessons have helped you prosper. Didn't expect to be back either. Work takes you places, though. I didn't cart this around for fun, Ip. The lessons kept me alive. Where is Yetunde anyway? I expected her to be here. She's dead. So are Gun and Nakamura, and Tong was killed just tonight. So much blood. You have to stop this from continuing. That's what we're here for. We'll stop the killings. Thank you, Isabel. Now, what can you tell me about the murders? They started 2 weeks ago. The first to go was Gun. We found him in his apartment, eviscerated. He'd been torn apart. His head had been ripped completely off, and most of his skin flayed away. There was so much blood it took us a week to clean out his apartment. The rest had been the same. Always at night, always dismembered. Each scene is like a nightmare. And every time, nobody has seen anything. It's like a ghost. What happened to Tong? The same thing that happened to the rest of the victims. Evisceration and dismemberment. We sent a guard to keep people out of his shop, but he'll let you in. When did he die? Sometime early tonight. He'd locked up his shop, but Ip stopped by to ask him about some skill chips he had. The door was unlocked, and inside looked like a bad horror sim, just like all the other murders. It had to have happened after sundown, because I saw his shop was open when I was on my way to get some noodles for dinner. Why didn't you call the police? That's a stupid question. The Hong Kong police force isn't welcome here. They've tried to force us out several times before, or come hunting for someone to pin a crime on. We do a lot of favors for local gangs and triads, handle their Matrix security, fix up their gear, and make sure they have access to the Hong Kong Shadowlands hub. We're too valuable a resource for them to lose, so they protect us when the HKPF or anyone else decides we're an easy target. They handle our physical security, and we make sure to send the message via the Matrix. The last time the HKPF made trouble, we started airing the assistant chief's dirty laundry over the vid. They get the picture and backed off. What do the Wampoan elders do? They make the rules and kick people out who don't obey them. They're a bunch of petty tyrants, that's what. You're being unfair, Isabel. Our laws are for the good of the community. We keep the Wampoa and its residents safe. We review trade agreements to see if they're good for the community. We provide a guiding vision, like a town council. I can respect that. I'm glad you understand. This community is fragile, and the authorities bear us a lot of ill will. A single misstep could spell our end. I am the invoker of sprites. I commune with the spirits of machines, ask them for blessings, and pass those blessings on to the people here. I heal the sick and ensure the feng shui of our habitat is as good as it can be, given our confines. Ah, so you're a tech priest, then. Bless the Omnissiah. She's a shaman, that's all. She's just got some kooky spin on it. Claims her totem is some kind of all-encompassing machine god that lives in circuitry. Yep, tech priest. Ancient gods and ancestors are one thing. My deck? It's mine. I built it. The only spirits it's got in it are the ESPs I loaded up with. Just because you cannot see or touch a thing does not mean that it does not exist. Just because you do not believe in it does not mean it does not protect you from afar. I can't touch programs either, but at least I can prove that they are an effect on the physical world. Your superstitions are just that, bullshit. This guy treats drones like they're living things. What exactly do you do, Tang? I am the first and glorious servo. I study patterns, repair machinery, and teach others how to attune themselves to the wonders of automation. The blessed Autofab is my shop in Purview, where we make the drones we use and sell. Oh my god, they're all tech priests. Really? What a fascinating and spiritual spin on things. I'd be interested in hearing more about your philosophy once we are done with the job. I think I may find your perspective to be very interesting. As for me, I serve as the Resplendent Voltage Spike. That means I shoot people who try to screw with us. It's a fancy title for head of security. Have any of you made any enemies lately? Not that I can think of. We keep to ourselves. We buy and sell technology. We're not mercenaries or criminals. We're merchants and deckers. And even if someone was cheated in a deal, this kind of response is unthinkable. Whatever did this, it wasn't human. The violence and savagery, it's a monster, whatever it is. Plenty of metahumans are monsters too, Nga. Just because it's horrible does not mean it's supernatural. Well, that's all the questions I have for now. It might be wise to ask the residents of Whampoa Garden if they've seen or heard anything after you've gone to Tonk's Sensory Carnival. They may have seen or heard things we have not. Good to know. Investigate Tonk's Sensory Carnival. Search for the killer in Whampoa Garden. This place doesn't seem to have anything else in there besides arcade, little, I'm guessing, a ticket booth or a restaurant, then an open space area with definitely a food court, a security hub or ops room, I'm guessing, and that looks like a fancy VR shop. Any of you are interactable? Does not look like it. Guess we'll go inside first. Porter Lam, at your service. The elders told me that you'd be coming. They tell you about what happened to Tong? Just the basics. Well, nothing's basic about this. I've seen people get shot, stabbed, beaten to death. Hell, I've even seen a corpse that was so dry and desiccated I could have sworn a vampire got to it. None of that's got anything on this. Brace yourself and go on in. Alright, you prepared? Hope you are. Tonk's Sensory Carnival looks like a scene out of a B-grade slasher film. The cloying scent of incense hangs thick and pungent in the air, emanating from the small shrine in the corner of the shop. Unfortunately, it does nothing to cover up the reek of death and clotted blood. Despite the ragged remnants of Elder Tong glittering the floor, the rest of the shop appears to be in good order, at least at first glance. Nothing is broken, tipped over, or otherwise ransacked. As you're about to step further into the room, you glance at the ceiling and walls. The blood from Tong's body isn't just confined to where his remains lie. Drying blood is spread about the walls and ceiling as well. Yep, not a pleasant sight. Definitely. Tong's body is a ruined mess. The destroyed ruin of his face is barely recognizable, and what is left of his body could be best described as savaged. All of his limbs have been torn off, and a pile of flayed skin lies next to the remnants of the Whampoan elder. The Whampoan's clothing has all but been reduced to rags and tissue by cuts and tears, apparently sustained during the flaying. At this point, the only thing holding what's left of his body into a semblance of human form is the hair-thin fiber optics of his cyberware. Sweet heaven. I haven't seen anything like that since Auntie Wong tried to stash some crat sticks in a devil rat's nest. It takes a lot to turn my stomach, but we sure have a winner today. This is seriously messed up. Curious. The removal of the skin speaks to a deliberate pathology, some manner of serial killer. But the severed limbs seem much more savage. You'd have to be very strong to tear those off. Look, parts of him are missing. That's very curious. Let's use astral perception to ascend the body. Taking a deep breath, you allow your senses to expand into astral space. The colors of the room bleed away, replaced with the vibrant lights and emotions of the spirit world. Surprisingly, no emotions of fear or anger pervade the room. The abiding emotion that the room is steeped in is one of perfunctory satisfaction. as if someone had accomplished an important task. It would seem likely that Tong was surprised. If he was not, you'd be certain that you would feel lingering fear within the room. Wow, really? Goba takes a moment to center herself and stares off into space. Shortly thereafter, she shakes her head and looks back to you. That's strange. You're right, though. He definitely did not see it coming. Ractor, take a look at the body. Curious. No subdermal bruising where the skin's been removed. No sign of a struggle. Coagulation of blood and lividity marks a time of death between 2 and 4 hours ago. The knife marks are methodical. The killer does not seem to have been interested in preserving the skin as any kind of whole. It was removed a bit like one fillets a fish, the path of least resistance. Some of the strips of skin have a more ragged edge than others. The ragged edge looks consistent with a claw rather than a blade. His neck's been severed between the 5th and 6th cervical vertebrae. Scoring across the bone indicates a bladed weapon, and a sharp one at that. Does not match any of the other wounds. If I had to guess, I'd say he was killed with a blow to the back of the neck. Everything else was subsequent damage. Why would someone kill him and then skin him? Honestly, I have no idea. Perhaps whatever did the rest of the damage was secondary. An action of opportunity or the like. Without further information, I'm not comfortable guessing. That reminds me. What level of biotech are we on? 0. I think it would be a good time to invest into biotech a little bit as well, since it is about recovering our hit points. Anything else we got? The walls are covered in splattered and smeared blood, of most of which was hardened to a crusty, congealed paste. Thick tracks of it run laterally. It looks like the blood has been deliberately smeared. These blood patterns aren't natural. The smearing here wasn't done by Tong. There's too much blood. The killer must have spread the blood across the walls deliberately. Why the hell would they do that? Perhaps they're like many serial killers. They see their actions as a ritual or as a work of art, and the victim's body was the medium in which they were working. Or maybe they're just crazy. Man, I've seen a lot of crazy people in my life, but I've never seen anybody crazy enough to think they were going to make a Mona Lisa out of somebody's teeth and guts. Thank the heavens for that too. So we got a body. We got unclear paintings. The desk safe is... Tong's desk drawers are open, and the safe that's built into one side has been opened. There is no sign of tampering, and the green light next to the word unlocked is blinking. Whoever opened the safe did it with a key fob. Inside are several blank cred sticks, but no sign of any with money on them. It looks like someone looted his stash. A guy like this wouldn't keep one of the empty cred sticks in his safe. And the SimSense editor. This is a Yamaha 95000V SimSynth, a device for mixing and mastering SimSense chips. Several drive bays are empty and all of the chip jacks are empty. The screen is flashing a repeated error message. Warning, request files cannot be found. Please return drives to bay and try again. Isabel? Isabel rattles out some commands on the SimSynth's keyboard, stepping away after a few seconds with a look of satisfaction on her face. There. I've put the drive warning on suspend. It's in diagnostic mode only, though. Maybe we'll learn something, maybe not. Yamaha Sim OS 5.23 System Diagnostics Check. Memory? OK. Drive? Error. Assist bus? OK. Beginning core dump? Please wait. The long debug spew that scrolls along the synth's screen is filled with numbers indicating recent files, play lengths, keyframes, and assist peak levels. Based on the numbers you are seeing, Tong's SimSynth has been hacked in to remove the peak controller levels from the chips he's been burning, the required operation to make BLT chips. The delta wave outputs for these chips have pushed them dangerously into brain burning memory. The file data log for the high-peak BTLs indicates all the files and burned chips should be stored on the missing drives, and whatever was in the empty chip jacks. Somebody's cleaned out Tong's BTL stash. Okay, so it wasn't just a gruesome killing, somebody also stole his stuff. Either that comes as an afterthought, or the gruesome details of the murder themselves are an afterthought. That's a very interesting afterthought, though, if it came with every killing so far. Need something else? It looks like somebody went through Tong's things. Has anyone else been inside? Not since I've been here, but before Ip found him? Could have been anybody, really. Ip had a key to his place, but the lock's total crap. Anybody half decent at cracking mag locks could have gotten inside. What's missing? His BTLs, hard drives, and cred sticks are all missing. Sounds like the killer looted his place to me. All this talk of monsters. Yeah, sure, there are scary things that go bump in the night, but most of the scary bumps I hear are from handguns and gangers. Anyway, what do you do around here, Porter? It's a catch-all category, I guess. I work for Elder Ip. It's a bit like being a deputy. I make sure people don't break the rules. Protect people who need protecting. Mostly I just do whatever Ip asks me to. It's a pretty quiet job most days. Today is not one of those days. I also handle a lot of maintenance. I don't actually do the repairs, but I've got most of the keys. It makes it easy to ensure only authorized people get into sensitive places. Electricity goes down, I let in the electrician who fixes the wiring. Toilets clogged, I let in the drone guy who opens it back up. And that information, my friend, puts you and Elder Ip on the suspect list. Congratulations, I'll see you later. This orc is busy snacking on a steamed bun. As you approach, he wipes off one of his hands and sticks it out towards you. Gotta go? Have a good one. You too. I most likely won't be sitting around for too long, but we'll see how it goes. Hey stranger, nice to see you. Zippy Toe Tag at your service. How are you liking Wampoa Garden? Hi, nice to meet you, Zippy. Nice to meet you too. Listen, I know it's a little forward of me to say hello and whatnot, but I'm interested in giving you a hand if I can. Zippy gestures expansively at the squalid, neon-lit streets of Wampoa Garden. This is my home, at least for the time being, and I'd like to stop these killings. We've never met before this, but I know exactly who you are. You're my replacement. The elders had me autopsy what was left of Elder Gan and Elder Nakamura after they got ripped apart, but I didn't want to dig any deeper. So, since I don't know you and I can smell a Shadowrunner a mile away, I've got to be the outsider they asked to stop the killings, right? Very astute. That's right. See? I have good eyes. A lot of good eyes, actually, if you're in the market for replacements. Only slightly used, and they're only coming from certified donors, I swear. Man, I kill myself. Pretty funny. You a stand-up comedian? What jokes like that? Are you kidding me? I'm one of the only trained surgeons around here. I keep the other Wampoans healthy. Gotta practice down the road. Blind Chen's a pretty good cyber doc, but he's basically an implant specialist, and that's it. How do you end up here? I did my residency back in the UCAS. Could have become a real MD too if things hadn't gone south for unrelated reasons. Zippy opens his coat, revealing his cyber deck. He pats it proudly. I also deck a little, but I'm better at slicing skin than IC. Wampoa Garden seemed a good fit for me. You must have a lot of customers. That's the cheap truth. I have to charge to cover my costs and eat, but it's damn near free service. There's always a waiting list, but it's good, honest work. I like helping my neighbors and the community. We all look out for each other. Somebody messes with one of us, they mess with all of us. That kind of community is rare as gold these days. How many places have an ethos like us? Not the damn corpse, that's for sure. I've lived a lot of places, done my fair share of Shadowrunning, but this place is special. It's been a long time since I really felt like anywhere was a real home. I'm sure I'll move again, but not for a while. I'm not done with this city or these people. so it's fairly peaceful. So it's fairly peaceful around here. For the most part, other than these killings, we don't have much by way of problems. We do information security for the Triads, and that makes us fairly impervious to anyone who wants to start trouble. Anyone starts something, we hit them in the Matrix, while our Triad friends hit them in meat space. Some small-time gangs have tried pushing in here before, but they backed off when they figured out they weren't just picking a fight with Tang and his guys, but with both the Red Dragon and Yellow Lotus. They got the message in real quick. What was left of them anyway? Let me ask you about One Paw Garden. Sure thing. What do you want to know? What are your thoughts on the murders? Pretty gruesome business. Gun died with from a broken neck. Looked like someone had wrenched it around, and with his arms and legs were cut off. Some skin flayed away too. Nakamura had his throat ripped out by someone with pretty sharp teeth. At first I thought it was a devil rat, but the teeth marks were all from something with a humanoid jaw. I didn't look at Yetunde. From what I saw at a distance, it was the same story. Didn't seem much point since I'd seen it twice already. As for Tong, from what Porter told me, it was Gun and Nakamura all over again. You take a look at him yet? Yeah, it's the same as you described for the others. Damn, I like Tong. The BTL business is unsavory, but the man had to eat. And his regular sims were great. Generally all around nice guy, friendly with everyone, never had anyone mad at him. There ain't no justice, let me tell you. Anyway, what can you tell me about the Elders? Well, they're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. Where to start? Ngu is the spiritual leader here. She is the voice of the Wampoans, I guess. A lot of her close friends are really more of followers, since she's something of a priest for the machine spirits. Told you. Tech priests. Maybe it's a cultural thing for people who grew up here, but it's never called to me. Still, she makes a damn fine pot of tea. Ip's the muscle and has an encyclopedic knowledge of cyber and bioware. Definitely a good guy to have watching your back. Not too friendly, but you know how it is. You get a lot of cyber, people start wondering if you'll tear their arms off. He's got moves straight out of Blood Carnival 3: The Reckoning. Terrible movie, but great fight choreography. And something tells me that Elder Ip is one big reference to Ip Man. Hear a lot of good things about that movie, gotta watch it sometime. What about Tang? I don't know much about him, but I think he's got some kind of fetish for automation. Found him cooing over some threads of automated delivery drones at a warehouse once. He works with drones, has a shop called The Blessed Autofab. He was raving about the efficiency of the movement patterns or something. You already know about Tong, ran Sims, BTLs, skill chips. Gan used to be a city planner before he had a nervous breakdown and got involved in statistical analysis. Nakamura came from Fukuoka and was interested in entertainment. Trade mostly. Spent a lot of time analyzing subliminals and ads. Then there was Magpie. She was the chief decker. Hot as hell against IC and built her own hardware. Salty old woman though. Never met anyone who was quite as shrill or nasty when she was mad. And she was mad most of the time. Wait, nobody mentioned Magpie to me. When did she die? She didn't. Maybe a month ago she just up and disappeared. I went to her shop one day and she just wasn't open. Nobody's seen her since. Kind of a pain in the ass too. She owed me some new analyzed software she'd picked up. I've never heard of Magpie either. She must be one of the newer Wampo ones. If she was the decker, she would have replaced Elder Gao. No surprise there. Gao was older than Qin Shi Huangdi's Terracotta Warriors. When I was learning decking from him, he could barely get out of bed. Still fast as all hell in the Matrix, though. How can he be new and an elder? It's a stupid name. It doesn't actually have much to do with the time spent in the community. That has something to do with it, sure, but it's mostly about how skilled you are, how good your connections are, and how much you can expect everybody else. You can help everybody else. Should have called them experts or something. Bingo. That's exactly it. She was only here for about 3 years, but she knew a lot of people all over the Matrix, in Shanghai, in Beijing, all kinds of places. That plus her skill meant she was a shoo-in when Gao died. Why would she disappear? No idea. One day she was here, the next, poof. At first I thought she was just on vacation, since she had mentioned wanting to see the Kingdom of Hawaii someday, but I didn't feel right. She would have at least told me she was leaving. It seems mighty suspicious to me. Nobody else seems to care what happened to her, probably because she pissed them off all so bad. A little odd for her to just disappear, don't you think? Of course it's odd. She owed me lunch too, and she was the sort who'd paid her debts promptly. You might want to check out her shop. It's all locked up, but the other elders have a spare key. Couldn't hurt to look around, and even though Magpie was always butting heads with the other elders, they wouldn't have any reason not to let you in. Wait, what do you mean they were butting heads? Magpie and the others never really saw eye to eye. She was contrary for the sake of it. Most of the rest had a grand vision for what they wanted this neighborhood to become. Magpie just wanted to deck. She was only an elder because they needed someone with her matrix chops. The last big argument was between her and Ip and Nakamura. It was over something relatively trivial. I think Nakamura wanted to expand the pirate trade business into the Matrix, and she just absolutely refused. She sounds like she didn't care for entertainment taking precedence over business. That's exactly it. She gave Nakamura an earful, let me tell you. She said something about not using up valuable bandwidth for trivial entertainment bullshit. Anyway, it went from there into this rant about how she was going to let Tang expand his drone business any further. Wasn't going to. Because it would get too much megacorp attention. They accused her of blocking them just because she could, which is probably true. Lots of screaming. No wonder they were mad. Yeah, you're telling me. I like the old coot, but she was a handful at the best of times. Everybody needs her matrix skills for their business to run properly. There are other deckers, me, Sayor, Mo, Jnebi, but she had the infrastructure. If their project didn't interest her, she wouldn't even give them the time of day. She's a real hardhead about having her time wasted, but she figures if she's not interested in something, it has no value objectively. Kind of a major blind spot if you ask me. Sounds like she was critical. Yes and no. But since she disappeared, Elder Ip's taken over running the Matrix infrastructure. He's not as good at it as she was, but his experience with drones makes him the best candidate. They wouldn't entrust something like that to anyone who wasn't an elder, so there you go. It looks like Tong was killed by a blade, not a broken neck or a bite. What kind of blade? Was it a knife? A sword? Maybe an axe? I don't know, but he was attacked at the back of the neck. I don't like that at all. This whole affair's got me on edge. People dying is nothing new but the flayed skin. Ugh. It sounds possible that whoever's been killing the elders is trying to muddy the waters with all of the blood and gore business. This is the crime of an intelligent, careful killer. Be careful. This investigation might take you somewhere very unpleasant. It most definitely will. See you later, Zippy. Try not to die. And we'll visit Magpie's shop, definitely. So let's speak to some of the elders about that. Is there anything we can do for you? Why didn't you tell me about Elder Magpie disappearing? Why would we have? Her departure from the Wampons isn't related to your investigation. It happened before the killings began. I'm certain she's just off sulking somewhere. No doubt she'll come waltzing back next month, all full of attitude and that life dare to go on without asking her permission. If she does, we'll welcome her back. Despite our problems with her behavior, her skills made her extremely valuable. I've taken over maintenance of our Matrix infrastructure in her absence, but I am nowhere near her level. The best I can do is ensure nothing breaks down until she returns. I'd like to take a look around her shop. Do you have the key? Yes, but there is a lot of sensitive equipment in there, including our community servers. We don't let anyone who's not one of the Wampon elders in there. Why would you need to look around there? Listen, you want me to find the killer? If I'm gonna do that, I have to explore every possibility. Very well. Take the key and look around. Just don't break anything or shut the servers off. Was there anything else? Nope, I'll be going now. Let's see, you are Rainbow. This woman sports brilliantly hued hair that shifts colors, scintillating with every passing moment. She is powerfully built, a natural athlete or someone who works out a great deal. Notably, a large shotgun rests on an arcade cabinet next to her. She affords you a short glance as you approach. When she speaks, you note a peculiarly lyrical accent to her voice. Something I can help you with there, friend? You're throwing off my game, and I'm trying to beat my best score. Tank War Europa? I haven't seen one of those cabinets in years. Aye, me neither. Managed to find this one near by accident, but I heard the music and thought, hold on there, Rainbow. You know that tune. After a few moments, Rainbow's game is suddenly over, her tank obliterated by a barrage of air-to-ground missiles. She hisses her breath in through your clenched teeth. Piss on your ma. A right robbery that was. Right then, you don't seem like them one pawns. They're all at mine touched, yeah? Maybe you are too, but you don't advertise it like they do. What's your story? Looking into the murders that have been happening. Ah, that's some nasty work. Bodies hacked up, chunks bitten out of them. Make sure you're loaded up for something big and ugly, that's for certain. Where are you from? Can't place the accent. Born and raised in Dublin, down the banks of the Liffey. Spent most of my early life there, working security on sacred spaces. You know, historical sites or underdeveloped land. The Green Movement was big in those days. I was a bit like being a park ranger, but sure didn't beat some dead-end desk job. Spent a lot of time around County Dublin and Wicklow. I always loved animals, and I found it being a ranger put me in close with them. It was a good time, yeah? Making sure the budding new species like the bogies and centaurs didn't upset the ecology of Wicklow National Park much. Also kept the nastier bits like Echuisk from running amok across populated areas. Or Echuisk. Echuiski. What's that? An Echuiski? Isn't that a demon horse? Aye, that's right. They're cannibal horses, basically. Nasty buggers that'll drag people into bogs and drown you. Sometimes people call them kelpies on account of the water plants they pop out of. Anyway, as I was saying, problem was I started to develop this wee knack. Just a small thing. I keep magic from working when I'm around. Spells don't go, spirits fall apart, and the para-critters get real feisty, yeah? To make things worse, this was around the time Liam O'Connor threw his coup and formed Tirna Nog. With all this fancy talk about elves and ancient magic, it was a bit scandalous to have a woman guarding ancient sites that wasn't just mundane, but also killed magic around her. So I got fired. You're older than Tirna Nog? Bang on, and I don't look a day over 25, do I? Aye, I'm Irish, not one of them noggins. Backpack of punters, the lot of them. Always got on about their ancestral lands and the glory of the past, it's all that bullshit. I saw them kick dozens of old Irish families off their land just because their ears weren't pointy enough, or they didn't meet some stupid arbitrary criteria of old nobility. It was that kind of thing that brought back the IRA, just like the one back old days of the Troubles. The skivers in the new tier didn't pay for the land they took. They just had a pack of bullies with guns. Rainbow scrunches her face up into a disgusted sneer and mock spits at the ground. I've always been sympathetic to the little guy in a tough fight. They offered to pay for my help, so I said yes, simple as that. So you became a terrorist? Feh, don't be so dramatic. They fixed me up with a cyber stitcher and gave me a lot of the kit I've got on me now, in exchange for going overseas to work for them. Smuggling, running guns, making contacts in Europe, same kind of shite all revolutionary groups do. Seeing as how my own fam got kicked out of their house, I was glad to do it. I still got work for them these days, but there's a lot less of it. Lady Day cracked down on dissidents, but good. What are you doing in Wampoa Garden? Me? I'm a bit of a big game hunter these days. I get into strange places, look for some kind of paracritter I've not seen before, and then I put a bullet in it. Only the nasty ones though, no point in hunting a taliscat or such. It's only things like gargoyles, bar guests or whatnot. And the work I did with them in my youth does a good job of keeping me alive. I was out at Jakarta last year hunting one of them Indonesian vampires. You ever heard of them? Call them Layak or Penanggalans, depending on who you ask. Their heads and guts come out of the body cavity and they fly around like a giant messy pile of pasta. Took me a solid 2 months to track her down, but I did. Once the job was done, I asked myself, Okay, Rainbow. Where's the next best place in Asia to find some action? So Hong Kong it was. And the key what sits here, I mean a bigger concentration of old critters than you'd usually find in a city. Been spending a lot of time down in the storm drains these days. I heard rumors of a rat king down there. What a mess of devil rats get all tied together into some kind of big awful rat beast. Haven't tracked it down yet, but I figure it's only a matter of time, yeah? See you later, Rainbow. And good luck with that. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Kwok Atelier, home of the finest clothing in Whampoa Garden. I'm the owner, Master Tailor, Wing Kai Kwok. How may I serve you today? I didn't expect Whampoa Garden to have a tailor's in it. Many people don't. There is a mistaken impression that we Whampoans are only interested in technology and the Matrix. But even technologists need clothing, don't they? And many of us gravitate towards lines of work where added protection is required. I myself am a materials scientist as well as a keen follower of fashion trends. What kind of materials science? Fiber related, of course. Primarily aramid fibers, graphene composites, and dilatants. It affords me a certain unique perspective when designing clothing that is not only beautiful but defensive as well. I specialize in high fashion body armor, similar to the kind crafted by Securitech or Vashon Island, but with a much more personal touch. Well, show me what you have. There's the old favorite, ballistic cloth suit. Last gen linen coat, Securitech armored clothing, shamanic ritual garb, and street monk outfit. I think I can go for ballistic cloth suit. And will immediately put it on. That's all. Thank you. Goodbye. Let's see who that is. The owner of this shop barely looks down from his PDA while greeting you. His tone is one of immense boredom. Welcome to Min 1 Matrix Materials, aka MVMM. What can I get you? And you've got programs and drones, so nothing I care about. Nobody in the food court? Nobody in the food court. Guess we're leaving. There's the shop. The jackpoint. I don't know, I just don't feel safe here anymore. This bin is full of assorted chips, peripherals, and add-on modules for cyberdecks. They don't seem to be arranged in any coherent fashion and are spread across the felt surface. Search through the bin. You sift through the display case, searching for anything that might prove interesting. That's interesting. There's a lot of storage memory, I/O handlers, and active memory in this bin. I'm not seeing any MPCP hardware, response increased chips, or anything relating to the hot shit decking Magpie was supposed to be into. In fact, you couldn't even build a full deck with this. Without the MPCP, it'd just be a glorified comlink. What do you think it means? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say somebody's cleaned her out. MPCP, response increase, biofeedback filters, and all that, they're easy to move, expensive, and highly illegal. All the rest of the scrap is good, but it's nothing you couldn't pick up at any electronics shop. You'd have to know what you're looking for, though. Only a good decker could know what they're seeing. Could Magpie have taken them with her? I guess so, but if she did that, why would she leave the complete cyberdecks? No, I think this was theft. That's one of the servers. The front of the server's case hangs open, the inner machinery quiet and without power. A clipboard is stuck to the side by a piece of duct tape, its papers filled with a long list of programs and their prices. A quick glance of the program sheet reveals names like Bugs and Black Hammer. Undoubtedly, this was Magpie's attack program storage machine. Somebody's removed the drives and it sure wasn't Magpie. Here, look. The main drives were disconnected properly, but it looks like she modded the server to have a backup drive with its own battery-based power supply. If it was Magpie, it should have taken that too. Crap, this is a Fuji XB1000, but it looks like the battery power ran out a while ago. The XB1000s are constant white drives. They're dirt cheap and have a ton of capacity, but if they run out of power, they lose their data. We're not gonna be able to get anything off the drive. That's a shame. Anything on her desktop? Magpie's desk is the kind of messy most people only associate with the rat's nests, hoarders, and deckers. The surface of the desk is littered with cigarette butts, half-finished cans of soy calf, and scraps of electronics. A towering pile of empty instant noodle bowls sits next to it. Their sides are blazoned with Honest Wang's instant old-time lamian, and depict a line of top hat-wearing caterpillars dancing with canes. Hey, awesome! I didn't think anybody but me liked Honest Wang's noodles. Flavor like that, like you're never tasted in a package of instant noodles, I promise. See? This one's cheese curry broccoli. I don't know why it never caught on, honestly. I can smell that stuff across the entire boat when you cook it. It's a bit like old socks with a side of vinegar. The first time I smelled it, I thought you were fumigating. Pfft. Isabel, your main problem is that you have no idea what's delicious and what isn't. Expand your horizons. There's a whole world of deliciousness waiting for you in every corner store. My horizons are fine where they are, thanks. After all, I can still tell I'm eating food or cardboard. That's one of those little things I'd like to hold on to. You gingerly root around in the desk, doing your best to avoid the more disgusting piles and spills. It isn't easy. The desk's drawers are stuffed to overflowing with receipts, cigarette packs, optical chips, and cables. Most of the contents are boring, useless, and disgusting. While searching one of the bottom drawers, however, a low-quality tin lockbox catches your eye. Someone has pried the latch off, leaving a ragged hole where a lock should be. The interior of the box has several sleeves for storing key cards, all of which are empty. A small note is taped to the interior of the box. Spare room stockroom keys. The door is in the rear of Mrs. Yang's restaurant. Do not lose these. Use only if I am not available to open the stockroom. A stockroom, huh? So who broke the lockbox to get the keys out? Probably whoever cleaned out Magpie's equipment. I'm thinking you're right. Whoever tore the latch off the box was in a hurry. Any of the elders could have cracked the mag lock without much trouble, and most regular Wampo ones could too. This seems like somebody who was tossing the place and wanted to get in and out as fast as possible. If someone was after Magpie's gear, her stockroom would be a gold mine. And lastly, her bathroom. You search Magpie's bathroom. There's not much in here. A toothbrush, toilet paper, some hairpins, and a collection of cheap makeup. The combination bath shower unit, however, has minor flakes of a dry reddish substance near the drain. Blood. Dried blood. Prying open the drain cover, it looks like there was quite a bit of it was shed as well. The blood hasn't been fully washed away. It looks like there was a cursory attempt to clean out the bath, but they missed washing it all away. It's a clever move, though. If Magpie is dead, a body drained of blood would be a lot easier to move without leaving evidence. This doesn't seem to match the killer's other scenes, though. I'm not certain I trust the elders to tell us the whole story. Let's not inform them of this finding just yet. If any of them know more than they're saying, they may go to ground and cover their tracks with greater diligence. Good idea. Very good idea. However, looking at the time, I have a feeling we're gonna need to wrap this up for tonight. And it seems everyone at my house is already asleep. So now is as good of a time as any to stop. As soon as I save in here. Well, that didn't take long, thankfully. And with that, we are done for tonight. At least this time, the Matrix section did not drain life out of me, since I can now navigate it. with that, thank you all for coming, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.